Salute. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. It's some things going on, man. We got Rob Reiner and his wife, guys, unalived in LA. Oh yeah, man. Says that they were poked, with a kitchen utensil. You know, yeah, basically they are unalive, guys. That is crazy. We most definitely exercise the Copyright Act of 1976. We most definitely using this for fair use purposes as far as news reporting, guys. Yeah, this is crazy, man. Rob Reiner and his wife, unalived, guys. They saying this is M, unalived. Unalive. Let me say that again. They were found unalive, but they were poked with a kitchen utensil. Yeah, man, this is crazy, guys. We also got a mass event that took place in Australia, as well as a mass event that took place at Brown's University, guys. It's a lot going on. Make sure you double tapping that screen. Most definitely subscribe to the channel if you are new, guys. Breaking news. Let's go.
Is telling NBC News tonight that he can confirm that the film director and actor Rob Reiner and his wife have been found dead in their home in Brentwood, California, from some apparent stab wounds. There is a huge police presence in that area of California tonight. Joining me now from Los Angeles is NBC's Liz Kreutz. Liz, I know you are following this closely. What can you tell us?
Yeah, hi, Jessica. This is just stunning news that is going to have major, huge shock across Hollywood tonight, as now is close to legendary director and actor Rob Reiner has confirmed to NBC News that Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer Reiner, were found stabbed to death in their home here in Los Angeles. They live in the Brentwood community. This is an upscale community here in LA. And according to LAPD, firefighters were initially called to that home around 3:30 afternoon from a call of an apparent homicide. Two people, a man and a woman, were found dead in the home, a 78-year-old and 68-year-old man and woman. Now, LAPD has not confirmed those identities, but NBC News does have a source confirming that it is Rob Reiner and his wife, who have been together for 36 years. They share, they have 3 children together.
They saying it's the son.
Rob Reiner is just an iconic figure here in Hollywood, known from 1970s for his first big role as Meathead in All in the Family. Then, of course, as director of When Harry Met Sally, The Princess Bride, this Spinal Tap. In fact, I just interviewed him a couple months ago here in LA for This Is Spinal Tap 2. He was out promoting that movie most recently. And of course, also known as a political activist. Just extraordinarily tragic news here tonight. There is a large police presence outside the home right now. We are awaiting an update from LAPD. We're expecting that they'll give a press conference in about 10 minutes.
Man, this is crazy, guys.
What are you hearing?
Yes,
about
most
why
definitely give
police
money.
were originally called to that residence in the first place?
At this time, we have very little information.
Make sure you guys are double tapping that screen. Get the likes up.
Apparently a homicide. Of course, when they arrived, they did find those 2 people deceased. They have not said anything at this time about a suspect. We do know that Rob Reiner has 3 children, adult children, but we do not know what the motive here is as the situation is. It's all really unfolding at this time.
Some people are saying they blaming the son.
Liz, I know that you have a lot of sources, a lot of friends in the celebrity world out there, in the Hollywood world. I mean, when you look at some of these movies that he had such a hand in, When Harry Met Sally, The Princess Bride, Stand By Me, as you said, he has left a legendary impact on Hollywood and beyond. What are you hearing from those close to him and those in the industry tonight about this death?
I think this is still so raw and so new that we are not even yet seeing the outpouring of comments and condolences that are about to come flooding in. I mean, we are talking about somebody, we're showing Meg Ryan here, who has been responsible for some of the most quotable, iconic scenes in film history. I was saying to someone earlier, just when I was interviewing Rob Reiner a couple months ago, he was talking about how his own mother was the woman in When Harry Was Allen who says, "I'll have what she's having." He has left an indelible mark on film history. This is extraordinarily stunning news. And again, hope to learn more about all of, what the motive may have been, why this may have happened at that press conference, Jessica.
All right, Liz, stand by. Let me bring in former ATF Special Agent in Charge, Jim Kavanaugh. Jim is also an NBC News law enforcement analyst. Jim, thanks for joining us tonight. What are you hearing about this investigation, and specifically,
they're saying that it could have possibly been the son, guys, that unalived these
mansion in the first place?
Well, it seems like they had a very violent death there. 2 people stabbed to death is what's been confirmed by NBC. And, stabbings are very violent, bloody encounters. Maybe someone found them.
Jim, allegedly, okay.
Maybe they survived and were able to dial 911, because all news reports are that the paramedics arrived almost an hour before the police. They got there first. So they're responding to some type of emergency. And they could have been found or called themselves. And I say it would be a very violent, bloody affair. That's the way stabbings are. There's a lot of twists and turns that could happen here. I mean, it could be an unknown assailant or assailants. It could be someone known to them domestically. Homicide will have to, rule out that it wasn't between them, although there's no indication of that. But they always have to look at that. But LAPD Robbery Homicide Division is very, very good. I've worked with them before. They're very proficient. And they will already have a strong list, Jessica. They already know the direction that it's going to go. It doesn't mean they know who did it necessarily, but they already have a direction. They've been able to read crime. There's a lot of evidence in these scenes. There's
Rob Reiner, guys, and his wife both found unalive.
Like this,
basically,
transfer a lot of evidence between whoever's responsible
with a knife.
So I'm sure they're
poke with a knife. Yeah, it's crazy, guys. Breaking
on the suspect.
They allegedly saying it's the son.
Such a large home in a community like Brentwood. Tell me specifically how hard it is to sort of shore off that crime scene, and does the investigation change when it is a person of Rob Reiner's stature and celebrity?
Yes, it's really easier in a facility like that or a home that large. It's easy to wall it off. It's easy just to make the home secure. You have a large area, and in a stabbing crime, it's probably more inside. So they'll be able to deal with that crime. Not so that it can spill out into the porch or the courtyard, of course, but they still mostly have control. It's not like it's on a city street, on a bustling downtown area. So it's better for them to control it. And yes, you're right. When someone, a famous person, a celebrity like Mr. Reiner and his wife were, I mean, all kinds of people are curious and against at it and sorrowful, and there'll be all kinds of people involved. And that works both ways for the detectives. Helps them get leads and information because everybody wants to help them solve it, but it also brings in a lot of information that they have to manage all the time. And whenever you have a profile case,
let's get to when the police
they're
talk
very, very thorough, very polished, very good team of detectives. And that's
we need to find out exactly what's going on, guys.
Homicide is split from robbery, and but in LA it's the Robbery Homicide Division. So no, that's not really telling us anything about the motive. That's just their team of detectives that would come on this kind of violent offense, major violent offense.
All right, Jim, stay right there. It looks like the press conference in LA is about to begin. Listen in live.
The beeping to stop, then we'll get going.
Thank you, guys.
Again, we are opening up this conference in Brentwood, California right now after news that film director Rob Reiner and his wife have been found dead inside their home in an apparent murder, an apparent stabbing. That's according to sources close to NBC News. Let's listen to the latest.
The Chief of Detectives for the Los Angeles Police Department. I'm going to give a brief statement, and then we're going to address any questions that we can. I might add there are going to be questions regarding what occurred here tonight, I will not be able to provide information in a lot of areas that questions may be getting asked. I'll do the best I can. So approximately 3:40 this afternoon, Los Angeles police officers, along with the Los Angeles City Fire Department, to the 200 block of Chadbourne Avenue here in the city of Brentwood. Upon arrival, they determined that there were 2 deceased individuals inside of the residence. The Los Angeles Police Department is now conducting an investigation at this residence here on Chadbourne, and that investigation will continue in the coming days. We will not be releasing any information regarding who was found deceased in the residence, because that will be done by the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office. So if there are any inquiries regarding the identity of the individuals that are deceased inside of the residence, that information will come from the LA County Coroner's Office. The current death investigation that is being conducted by the Los Angeles Police Department is going to be handled by the Homicide Section of Robbery Homicide Division of the Los Angeles Police Department. That investigation will move forward through the night, and tomorrow morning we will probably have additional information regarding what occurred here on Chadbourne and our investigation moving forward. We will not be releasing any further information regarding the investigation that is occurring here in Brentwood tonight. Our detectives will be responding along with our Forensic Science Division and our Technical Investigation Division investigators to conduct a full crime scene investigation and determine the appropriateness of the investigation moving forward. At this time, the Los Angeles Police Department is not seeking anyone as a suspect or as a person of interest or in any other manner, and we will not be doing that until we conduct our investigation and we move forward. That's all I have right now at this early preliminary stage of this investigation. If you have questions that I can answer, I will answer them. I would just ask you, please, if you do not have the ability to answer the questions, that you remain patient over the
Please
coming
take
hours,
time to
over the
double
coming
tap
days.
that screen, guys. Get the
Starting
lights up.
tomorrow morning, we will be responding and providing additional information as it becomes publicly available. Pete.
Who actually made the call that brought fire department and police officers here as the person and your release who it was?
So we understand that the person reporting was here at the location. We're not going to release any information regarding the identity of that individual at this time. Hold on. One at a time, please.
That a family member is being interviewed in connection with the judge. Can you confirm that? And is that family member being cooperative?
There are going to be many family members interviewed. I'm not going to confirm whether someone's interviewed at this time or not. We're going to try and speak to every family member that we can to get to the facts of this investigation.
Why are you not looking for a suspect?
I'm sorry.
Why are you not?
Ron Weiner and Ron Reiner
Suspect
and his wife, guys. Rob Reiner and his wife. Hollywood couple.
Yes. Yeah, so
celebrity.
at this time, after we determine, so I need everyone to understand something.
This director and actor.
To comply with the legal
Absolutely.
process, before we do anything here, we have to get a search warrant because there are issues regarding.
This is crazy, guys. Yeah, breaking
NBC
news.
News special report. There is shocking news out of Hollywood tonight. Famed film director Reiner and his wife Michelle Singer Reiner have been found stabbed to death in their home in Brentwood, California. A press conference is ongoing, but first let's to Liz Royce, who is following the very latest. Liz, what can you tell us about this tragedy?
Yes, Brandy, it's crazy.
This is just stunning news tonight. A source close to Reiner confirmed that the legendary actor and director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle Singer Reiner have been stabbed to death in their home here in Los Angeles. Home in Brentwood, California, upscale neighborhood here in the city. According to law enforcement, the call came in around 3:30 this afternoon. The homicide investigative team responded, and police have said that 2 people were found deceased inside this home, a 70-year-old and a 68-year-old, a man and a woman. And again, a source close to Rob Reiner has confirmed the identities as the legendary director and his wife, who have been married since 1989. They share 3 children. Rob Reiner also has another daughter from his previous marriage to Penny Marshall. And this is just, as we're getting this news, sending absolute shockwaves through Hollywood. Rob Reiner is just an iconic filmmaker responsible for some of the most legendary film scenes of our time. When Harry Met Sally, The Princess Bride, This Is Spinal Tap. Of course, he made his name originally in the 1970s as Meathead in All in the Family. We are having a press conference right now from the LAPD. Is what's
crazy,
ongoing,
guys.
and they have not confirmed the identity of Rob Reiner and Michelle Reiner. They have not identified a suspect, and right now they have not said anything about a motive here either, Jessica.
Liz, what sources are telling us is that it was an apparent stabbing that killed the couple in their LA mansion tonight, their Brentwood mansion, rather. I know that you recently interviewed him. Tell me about that conversation and what you recall from speaking with Rob Reiner just a short time ago.
Yeah, I interviewed him at the end of September as he was promoting his most recent film, This Is Spinal Tap 2, sequel to his famous mockumentary, This Is Spinal Tap, from the 1980s. And it was with him and Christopher Guest and the other actors who were made so famous from that movie, and they reunited. And this was actually the only sequel that Rob Reiner has ever made. And it took him several decades to finally decide to make the sequel. And you could just see how beloved he is as he was surrounded by his fellow actors that he has worked alongside.
This is crazy. They're reporting that it may have been the son, guys. What's up, Mr. Wilson? Shout out to everybody in the building. Make sure y'all subscribe. Most definitely double tap that screen. Breaking news.
Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan. We do have a statement that's just come in, Jessica, from the mayor of Los Angeles here. She's saying this is a devastating loss for our city and our country, that Rob Reiner's contributions reverberate throughout American culture and society, that he has improved countless lives through his creative work. And also, she goes on to talk about the work he's done in the political space, fighting for social and economic justice. Here in LA, she talks about some of the initiatives that he's spearheaded. He was particularly influential in the LGBTQ movement to legalize gay marriage in California and overturn Proposition 8. And she goes on to say, I want to thank all of the first responders who were called to this tragic event, saying the investigation is ongoing tonight, Jessica.
As you mentioned, he leaves such a huge imprint on Hollywood and beyond, and also all of the work he did as a political activist. I know you just read that statement. I'm wondering if you're hearing anything else from friends of his or other celebrities in Hollywood tonight, although I imagine that the news is just starting to sink in.
Yeah, I've been checking the social media accounts for those he's closest with, also his adult children as well. We haven't seen any of those posts at this time. Again, I think that this is a shocking development. It's also the first night of Hanukkah. Rob Reiner is Jewish. He maybe perhaps be celebrating with his family tonight, and we don't know who the suspect is. Police have not identified anybody at this time. We don't know if this was somebody who knew the Reiners or somebody outside. We know that they live in a large mansion with high hedges and what looks like to be a big gate and security around this home. But a lot of questions still tonight as this investigation unfolds.
In fact, Liz, one of the questions at that press conference before we came to you was a reporter asking police, are you speaking to a family member? So, Liz.
Hold up real quick, guys. I must no, I don't want to do that. But yes, I do, because it's the only way it's going to stop this. So there you go.
Please stay close. We have other breaking news that we want to get to right now. Authorities in Providence, Rhode Island, are saying that they have released the person of interest in that deadly shooting at Brown University yesterday. The man hasn't been charged. You will recall 2 students were killed and 9 injured. The suspect at this hour still on the loose. So let's go straight to our national law enforcement correspondent, Tom Winter.
They have no suspect yet, guys.
Development for all of Rhode Island and especially the families of those victims. What happened in the 16, 17 hours that they had this person of interest in custody that made police say, actually, this isn't it?
Right. So this investigation started approximately after 4:22 on Saturday, when shots were initially fired at Brown University's campus, and just before 6 a.m. this morning, there was an individual who was in custody, described by police as a person of interest. This individual had apparently, according to our reporting, there was kind of a unique a unique component or part of the gun. The witnesses described, and when law enforcement entered this person's hotel room at the Hampton Inn in Coventry, Rhode Island, approximately 40 minutes southwest of Providence, that
both of them found unalive, guys.
Type of weapon. There were also some information about some other evidence that they were able to uncover. The Providence officials and Rhode Island officials describing as a quantum of evidence that led them to this individual. But tonight, there is apparently not enough to put state charges on this person. And as a result, they are going to be scheduled to be released from police custody at some point here in the near future. So that's what we know so far. What we don't know is what evidence was developed over the course of the day and the afternoon. And clearly, there have been some developments, because just 6 or 7 hours ago, police said that there would be no further briefings tonight. And then within the last couple hours, that radically changed, and they called a press conference for 10:30 p.m., started 11, and delivered the news that this person was going to be released. The Attorney General, Peter Nerona, former U.S. Attorney for Rhode Island, somebody who's been in law enforcement for a long time in that state.
It's crazy, guys.
Said, look, at this point, they don't have the evidence that they need, that there might be something that...
Brentwood, California, a press conference there just wrapping up. Let's go back to NBC News' Liz Kreutz with the very latest. Liz, what did you hear in that press conference that stuck out to you just now?
Well, I think what's really notable, Jessica, is that police at this time are really not giving a lot of information. We now know from a source close to Rob Reiner that tragically he and his wife, Michelle Singer Reiner, have been stabbed to death in their home in Los Angeles, but police would not confirm the identities. And they also said that they
unalived in their home together, guys. Reports are saying that it may have been the son that did it. We can't confirm those, but that's what they're saying. As far as my chat, this is crazy, guys. Yeah, man, well-known actor. I mean, a well-known director, unalived, him and his wife at their home, basically poked to death with a kitchen utensil.
A search warrant right now for a suspect, and they were very vague when answering questions around who might be responsible for this. They said that they need to get that search warrant, and then they'll begin a full investigation. They are talking to neighbors at this time as well. We did, though, get a short statement.
Continue to double tap that screen, guys. Get the likes up. That's how you hit the like button. If you're on a mobile device, double tap that screen.
Marshall, he was married to her prior to his marriage to Michelle Reiner. And Tracy, on the phone to our entertainment correspondent, Chloe Malas, said, "I came from the greatest family ever. I don't know what to say. I'm in shock." And I think that's going to be the sentiment around the world tonight, Jessica.
Liz, during that press conference, did police say who found the couple or perhaps who made that 911 call?
They did not say that at this time. I think that's going to be a huge question that people want to know is who found these Rob Reiner and his wife in their home. We know this happened around 3:30 this
all in the family.
It's Hanukkah, so the family may have been celebrating.
I'm not sure if it was from the home. I just don't, want to say. I don't know where the knife came from.
But whatever that call,
I call it a kitchen utensil because we all know what a knife is. We don't know whether it was a pocket knife
and there remains
or a butcher knife, guys.
A very large police presence there tonight.
This death of this couple not only sends shockwaves through LA, through Hollywood, but really through the country, because it wasn't just his impact on Hollywood, right? It wasn't just the movies. It wasn't just the TV and film. He was an incredible activist, political activist as well, very passionate about the LGBTQ movement, very passionate about equal rights. And I'm curious if you can tell us more about the conversation that I know you had with him in September, where I know he really made a mark on you.
Yeah, I've always been a huge fan, like so many of us, of Rob Reiner and his films. I mean, When Harry Met Sally, it's like a film everybody watches every year around New Year's. And I think he's just been a part of the cultural fabric of our country. And so it's tragic this news tonight, and I had
So
the
it was very, very
extraordinary
hated
honor
by
of being
many
able to
people.
interview
Okay.
him just 2 months ago as he's been promoting his newest film. This is Spinal Tap 2. It is the sequel of his famous mockumentary from the 1980s. This is Spinal Tap. And what just struck me meeting him was how extraordinarily beloved he is. He was there sitting with the other actors, including Christopher Guest, who's also well known for these mockumentaries, kind of reunited for this film. And it's like they just snapped right back into their, he called it schnadeling, their improv. He was so gracious, so funny, everything you could have imagined Rob Reiner would be, and so happy. And it's just, it's a stunning loss tonight. And I so many questions about how this could happen.
You know, Liz, as you're up on the television right now, we have you next to photos of Rob Reiner, and every picture is a warm smile, a genuine smile, where for as huge as he was in Hollywood, right? He also
Let's
had
get the
that
likes up
warmth
over
and
100,
that
guys. Double
approachability
tap
about
that
him.
screen.
At least that is what we have heard from folks who knew him.
Get the likes over 100, guys. Double tap that screen and click those 3 dots. Hit that thumbs up, guys. This is everything we know on the Unalived of director actor Rob Reiner, you know, and his wife Michelle Reiner, guys. They were found, you know, basically poked to unalive in their home.
Liz, stay with us. We want to go now to the phone where Mark Malkin, Variety's senior culture and events editor, is joining us. Mark, thanks for being here. I'm wondering how this news hits you tonight and what you're hearing from friends in Hollywood.
I mean, this is a tragedy that's just completely unbelievable. People can't comprehend exactly what's happening. You know, to hear that Rob Reiner is dead along with his wife, and to hear that they were stabbed to death, it's just something that is just so incomprehensible. Like your reporter who was just talking, I was with Rob at his last public appearance, which was the premiere of the Spinal Tap sequel back in September. His whole family was there. All the kids were there. Michelle, of course, was there, his wife, because she's also producer on the movie. And Rob, as
Come on, guys, double tap that screen and click those 3 dots. Hit that thumbs up. The likes help out the channel. Let's get the likes past 100, guys. Everybody who hasn't hit that like button, double tap that screen or click the 3 dots and hit that thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel if you're new.
Always was. He was in a good mood, cheerful mood, so happy to be there. This is the kind of guy that, remember, he comes from, you know, Hollywood royalty. Carl Reiner, Estelle, his mother Estelle. This is someone who could have coasted in life.
Most definitely Hollywood.
He made his mark. When you look at his credits, his film credits, it's just an unbelievable, unbelievable resume.
And as I was just discussing with Liz, Mark, it's not just the film credits, it's the work that he did to get others equal rights, his work in the LGBTQ space, his work as a political activist. Talk about the mark that will leave, not only on Hollywood, but beyond.
Listen, you know,
official report says Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle, singer Reiner, were found unalive in their home, and their son Nick is now being questioned by the police, guys. So people have been saying it's the son. They most definitely questioning the son,
guys. It may not have happened if it wasn't for Rob Reiner. This was a man who stepped up. He co-founded a group that really spearheaded.
Gillian, you most definitely still got your tool. Why would you lose it? It's there. You can't see it.
Who is a conservative, a very conservative attorney, to join their fight.
Thank you for the gift. Lies everywhere.
It's not a political issue. I remember many, many years ago when that fight was going on, he was behind a performance of a play called 8, which was basically just a reading of the court cases that overturned the ban on gay marriage. So, you know, this is a man who obviously,
thank you, Belinda,
is so far. I think there are probably many people who don't realize, who are getting married today, who don't realize that Rob Reiner played a very, very big part in that.
Mark, I can hear in your voice that you are deeply affected by this. Tell me how Rob stood out in Hollywood, in a place where... Go ahead.
This is a guy who stood out.
Wow.
He was just very real.
Reports coming in by the second. So we got multiple sources tell people that the unaliver was the couple's son. Nick Nick Reiner previously spoke publicly about his long battle with drug addiction and periods of homelessness. Oh, wow. All right, man. So a lot of reports are saying it was the son, guys. That's what the reports are saying.
He's very down to earth. You wouldn't know that.
Took
He
his
grew
mom
up in
and dad
Hollywood,
out the
and
game.
he grew up around, you know, the greatest comedic actors of all time. Remember, his dad was Carl
His wife
Reiner.
was in a lot of
You know,
shows too. That's
he had a
crazy.
childhood home that was full of the greatest, you know, Hollywood
Sean,
icons ever. But Rob kept
you know what unalive means, Sean. Let's not make a big deal out of unalive. It means the same thing you think it means. Let's not make it a big deal. We all know what unalive means. That means you're not here anymore. You know, YouTube doesn't like the D word, man. Calm down. We know what you're talking about. You know what I'm talking about. It's okay. Just chill. We're doing it for YouTube, man. I'm not saying it, Sean. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it. Multiple sources tell people that the unaliver was the couple's son, Nick Reiner. Previously spoke publicly about, okay, you already typed that. You still got it wrong again. Shout out to you. Let's go, man. Let's get back to it.
just very, you know, down to earth. He was married to Penny Marshall for many years. They adopted a daughter, Tracy. And then obviously he married Michelle, and they were just so loving. You never heard anything about Rob Reiner that was negative. And when he was on the red carpet, which, you know, is really my main thing that I do for work, he was just always there with a handshake, with a smile, with a baseball cap. He wasn't a fancy guy. He was very down to earth and just really cared about other people. You know, he's sort of in the mold of a Norman Lear. And it's not surprising that, you know, Rob started his career in Hollywood on a Norman Lear show and All in the Family as Meathead. We all remember him as, you know, certain.
Everybody remembers Meathead, guys.
Meathead. And, you know, that
but this is terrible, man.
Forever to this day, sitcoms model themselves after All in the Family.
And for you personally, having gotten to know him through your work, how will you remember him?
I'm just going to remember the guy with the smile, the guy who, you know, had no airs about him. You could see him walking down the street. You would never imagine that this was a guy who was behind some of the greatest films of all time. Stand By Me, When Harry Met Sally, Princess Bride, Spinal Tap, and obviously he got to finally make that Spinal Tap sequel, which they wanted to do for many years, but it got caught in all this business affairs and rights, and they finally got, you know, it's fitting that his last project was the Spinal Tap sequel.
I'm on your website right now, Variety's website, and it says we lost one of the few good men. What is next in your reporting for Variety on this tragedy?
Yeah, Meathead, man. Pray for him, Platinum.
We want to know what happened. How did this happen? Why were Rob and his wife, Michelle, stabbed to death? Who did this? Why did they do this? And that's, everyone wants answers because you don't have closure until we have answers.
And can you even imagine how celebrities and how Hollywood will even begin to pay tribute? I mean, just obviously it's such a shock right now. I'm sure people are numb, but how do you appropriately show respect and love for someone who is really larger than life in this space?
I think you're going to start seeing, and you're starting to see it on social media already, where people are.
Let's continue to double tap that screen, guys. Get those likes up.
Michelle, I think, you know, in the days and weeks to come, there are going to be memorials. I would not be surprised if there were TV specials that were set up remembering him. Would not be surprised if there were documentaries or, you know, in the works shortly after this, because this is someone, you know, we want to remember and that people have to remember for generations to come because he really did impact culture that much.
Mark Malkin of Variety, thank you so much. I know this is a personal loss for you and the entire industry. We appreciate you being with us. Let's go back now to NBC's
Thanks so
Liz
much.
Kreutz, who continues. Thank you, Mark. Let's go back to NBC's Liz Kreutz, who continues following this story. Liz, any updates since we last spoke with you a few minutes ago?
Man, I'm telling you,
Well, we
Bob.
are starting to get a number of statements pouring in from people shocked about this loss. We've heard from Kathy Bates, the actress. She's put out a statement saying, "I'm horrified hearing this terrible news, absolutely devastated. I love Rob. He was brilliant and kind, who made films of every genre to challenge himself as an artist." And then she goes on to honor his wife, Michelle, saying she was a gifted photographer. She shot my beautiful photos for the Misery campaign, and that
there was no signs of forced entry into the home, guys. No signs of forced entry. People are saying that it's the son. He's being questioned by authorities now. He has a long-standing battle with drug addiction, guys. Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle, both found unalive in their home. No forced injuries. No forced entry. And the son is the suspect.
Heart breaks for them both. My thoughts are with their family. Filmmaker Paul Feig, famously of Bridesmaid and many other films, he's tweeted that Rob is one of my heroes. I had the honor of calling him a friend. I pray this isn't what it sounds like. I just saw him and Michelle 2 nights ago. And even that statement shows you how quickly this is all unfolding and how many questions there still are about what happened. And then on the other side of this, like you've been mentioning, his political activism, we've now got statements from both California Governor Newsom and Nancy Pelosi here speaking about both his impact on the arts and film, but also in the
5 foot 18 inches. Say his son did it.
Speaking about how he was a passionate advocate for children and civil rights. He says from taking on big tobacco to fighting for marriage equality to serving as a powerful voice in early education, he made California a better place through his good works. And Nancy Pelosi as well, calling this just a devastating tragedy, saying it's hard to think of anyone more remarkable and excellent in every field and endeavor that they pursued. Rob was
this is the
funny and
CNN.
beloved, and Michelle was his indispensable partner, intellectual resource, and loving wife. Jessica.
Yeah, it really is double the tragedy and so hard to comprehend because they both had such a meaningful impact on the arts and on the industry in California. Liz, what are we hearing about a possible suspect? Have LAPD said that they are still looking for somebody? It didn't come across that they were urgently looking for a killer during their press conference.
That was my interpretation as well from what we heard from the LAPD press conference there, and it definitely left some questions open. You could tell reporters there were trying to pin that LAPD officer down, trying to understand, okay, you're not searching for a suspect. Shouldn't you be searching for a suspect? Wouldn't neighbors be worried? So that remains to be unclear exactly who they're looking for. Perhaps they have an understanding of who may have done this, but they have not identified that person or given any indication at this time of a motive. So that remains the really big question and why this happened. We were looking up, their home is in a very beautiful upscale neighborhood of Los Angeles, a large mansion with high hedges and a big gate that would have a decent amount of security to get into their home as well.
All right, Liz, stand by. We're going to go back now to Jim Kavanaugh, the
crazy,
NBC News
guys.
law enforcement analyst that we have standing by to give us some insight into this investigation. Jim, I'll actually ask you the same question I just asked Liz. It didn't sound like a lot of urgency to find a suspect in that LAPD.
That's because they already got one, his son.
They also didn't say that the community should be concerned or that they're searching for a suspect. So what do you make?
Thank you to everybody that's viewing the program. Can we take time to double tap that screen, guys? Get the likes up. If you're on a mobile device, double tap your screen. Or you can click the 3 dots in the right-hand corner, hit that thumbs up, guys, as we find out everything that they're telling about what happened to Rob Reiner and his wife, guys. Double tap that screen. You know what I'm saying? That's one way to hit the like button, or click the 3 dots, hit the thumbs up. That's another way. It most definitely helps out the channel. We ain't asked y'all for 1 penny. Just hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new.
Well, they're in their initial methodical stage of examining the crime scene to determine the manner of death. Now, they've told us the cause of death is stabbing. That's what we know, and NBC News has confirmed that. But the manner of death is different. So homicide has to first look at this and say, could it be a suicide, a murder-suicide? I think that's unlikely. Usually those are not stabbings, but they do happen. So homicide can't say, oh, probably not. They have to look at it clinically and see if that could have occurred. Once they're sure that's not occurred, then they can move on and say, okay, we think it's a homicide and a double homicide.
Well, we already know this. We know that they're looking at the son. All right, let's get off of that one. Most definitely have more on this situation for y'all right here is coming up. Continue to double tap that screen, guys. Let's go here.
Outside Director Rob Reiner's Brentwood home tonight. Inside, 2 people are found dead. And tonight we can confirm the famed director and his wife were murdered. Fox 11's Rachel Aragon is live near the crime scene in Brentwood, and here is what she's learned so far. Rachel?
Yeah, it's such a tragic story here unfolding in what usually is a quiet neighborhood here in Brentwood. We know right behind us, though, it's hard to tell, but the home of Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle. LAPD, as of this hour, from a press conference just about an hour or so ago, not confirming the identity of those 2 people found dead inside. But we know from multiple sources, as well as TMZ, reporting that those 2 are, in fact, director and actor Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle. We also know Mayor Karen Bass just a few minutes ago releasing a statement confirming the news to inside Rob Reiner and his wife. She's saying and calling this a terrible loss for our city and our country. TMZ also reporting that the couple was found with wounds consistent with a knife. Again, Susan, a tragic story as we learn more and more throughout the evening of what unfolded here on Hanover Street and South Chadbourne Avenue. Reiner, as we all know, is known for his beloved TV and film credits like Princess Bride and All in the Family. LAPD Chief Deputy, though, also saying earlier they're still very early in this investigation and calling this, as of right now, a death investigation. Now, during a press conference, members of the media asked him directly, LAPD Deputy Chief, if a family member was responsible for the death.
Here it goes. If a family member.
Here's what he had to say.
In terms of someone that may have information regarding what happened inside the residence, we're not going to release that information. That'll be part of the investigation.
We've confirmed. Were there other family members?
There's been no reports from the neighbors regarding hearing anything or seeing anything that we can release to the public.
Were there other family members residing inside the house besides Carl and his wife?
I don't have that information.
Timeline of this murder.
We haven't established that yet. We will establish that soon, and then that'll be part of the investigation.
Cause of death.
The part that is publicly releasable, we will release. The cause of death will be released by the LA County coroner.
Are you looking into them being stabbed?
We're looking into getting the information from the LA County coroner when it's available. So I knew we had a question. Yes, ma'am.
They were in the home they were found?
We didn't say.
Were any weapons found at the scene?
We didn't say anything about weapons either.
Nothing about weapons being found at the scene.
And as you can tell right there, very little new information coming out from LAPD. I also want to say
they have to have security cameras. I know they did too, IGT.
In this investigation, they say they're still conducting interviews, not just with family members, but also neighbors here in Brentwood. Now, back here live, Susan, something I thought stood out to me, though, just how early this investigation is.
Allegedly.
The LAPD deputy chief saying they're still working on obtaining a search warrant for the home. When they can obtain that, that's when they can finally go inside and really do a deep dive in terms of investigation and find evidence.
The views and opinions in this video and comments on this channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions by the channel's broadcast.
The whole news conference, Rachel, was kind of frustrating, wasn't it? He danced around a lot of questions.
He really did. And one thing that was also asked during that press conference was the manner of death of these 2 people. How did they die? Or really just what was the condition or state they were found in? That also was not answered during that press conference.
All right, but TMZ is reporting something rather disturbing. Do you know that report?
TMZ done reported on it.
In fact, they mentioned laceration that what looks like could be knife wounds again. So it's interesting to see how this will play out. We do know LAPD is saying
what TMZ
kind of
said
for us, of course, tomorrow. But as of right now, they're saying pretty tight-lipped when it comes to the condition that those 2 were found inside that home.
Rachel Aragon, thank you so much for your reporting. Rob Reiner's family released a statement tonight. It is with profound sorrow that we announce the tragic passing of Michelle and Rob Reiner. We are heartbroken by this sudden loss, and we ask for privacy during this unbelievably difficult time. Director and actor Rob Reiner and his wife found dead in their Brentwood home
What's
tonight.
up, Patrick?
Here's a look back on the iconic director's body of work. He was born Robert Norman Reiner in the Bronx, New York. He was the eldest son of comedy legend Carl Reiner. Here, he's pictured with his father and his eldest son, Jake. Reiner first achieved national stardom playing Michael Stivic, a.k.a. Meathead, on All of the Family.
Meathead.
The role earned him 2 Emmy Awards.
I mean, haven't you ever gotten anything you didn't ask for?
From there, he launched his wildly successful career behind the camera. Between 1984 and 1992, he directed the films that are still revered today.
It's crazy, guys.
The mockumentary This Is Spinal Tap,
Yes! Yes! Oh!
When Harry Met Sally, and Princess Bride, to name just 3.
Truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
Wait till I get going. Where was I?
In 2019, he reunited with the stars for the 30th anniversary of When Harry Met Sally. Reiner was also known for his activism in politics. He was for early childhood education. He was against Prop 8, which banned same-sex marriage. He was also strongly anti-Trump and known for his support for Democrats such as Al Gore, Hillary Clinton, and Joe Biden. Most recently, he was seen on various shows actively promoting his new film, Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues. Well, for more on this story and the legacy of Rob Reiner, let's welcome in Sharon Waxman from The Wrap. And Sharon, how will you remember Rob Reiner?
Well, he was just a very kind person. He was a presence in Hollywood, kind of everywhere over the past very many years. He lived, as we know, in Brentwood, which is where this tragedy has occurred. And so you'd see him out and about in restaurants, and people would stop by his table and talk to him, and he was always very friendly. And he was also very involved in politics and social causes that he believed in, as your story just said. So you'd see him at just those kinds of events, and he was very engaging. He liked to talk about politics. He liked to talk about current affairs. He was a really open guy.
Indeed, and for decades he's been in the Hollywood scene. So Sharon, what was your favorite movie of his?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, first of all, I'm still reeling from this really kind of mind-bending news and this tragedy. And I have to say, I mean, The Princess Bride is one of so many people's favorite movies, and I don't know how many times that I've seen it. It's on cable TV all the time. There's clips of it all the time. And
people quote from it all the time.
Hey man, if you haven't hit that like button, double tap that screen, guys. That's one way to hit the like button, or click those 3 dots. Let's get the likes over 200 if you don't mind. Double tap that screen, man. Double tap that screen, or click the 3 dots, hit the thumbs up. This is everything that we're hearing and that we know about the unaliving of Rob Reiner, aka Meathead, and his wife, guys.
It all the time. Montoya, Mandy Patinkin will replay the scene of his dying in The Princess Bride. So, but also Harry Met Sally is such a classic. I mean, he just contributed so much to our filmic history. But then, of course, before he became a director, he also was this iconic character on All of the Family, which some of your viewers may not remember because they may be too young. But he was a constant presence in people's living rooms for years as this liberal son-in-law of Archie Bunker, the kind of archetypal bigot. And the joke was always, of course, on us as Norman Lear did this show. And I think also really created a real bond between Norman Lear and Rob Reiner, who also picked up the baton of many of the social issues that Norman Lear treated in his television shows and brought it with him into his film career and into his social activism.
Indeed. I think of When Harry Met Sally, and perhaps it's not well known that it was actually his mother that delivered the iconic line, "I'll have what she's having."
Yes, that's right. Who can forget that? So, it feels like such an unfitting end to a beloved member of the creative community in Hollywood. And of course, there's a whole police investigation that needs to follow, and many suggestions that perhaps this was a family personal tragedy. And if so, our hearts really go out to the Reiners and to all of their friends.
Absolutely. Perhaps it is a little too soon to celebrate his legacy, but at the same time, people need to be reminded how much he had such an impact in Hollywood. And let's talk a little bit about the investigation, because LAPD in that news conference, very careful to talk about a possible suspect. In fact, all that you could really divine from that was the idea that the rest of the community need not worry, which sort of speaks to what you say, that perhaps this is a family affair, if you will. So do you know anything else, or is there anything that you want to say that, that is leading police in a certain direction?
Well, it was surprising that the chief of detectives, Alan Hamilton, gave so little information outside the House, because Mayor Bass has already confirmed that he wouldn't even confirm that it was Rob and Michelle Reiner who were in the house deceased, which Mayor Bass has confirmed. And in addition, it's apparently a homicide, which he also would not say. So I believe there are procedural measures that needed to be taken. He said that they were waiting for a warrant to arrive, and made clear that they had not been in the house after
it is way too close to
the
holidays for this.
That they were waiting for a warrant to go in and actually conduct an investigation, and he was being very careful to say they were going by the book. He would not respond to questions about whether a family member was involved. So what I can tell you, of course, the Reiners had a broad network of friends in the industry. And so we are reporting on this from that side as well. And our sources have confirmed that they were found with knife wounds, tragically, in their home. And also, I interviewed a couple of the neighbors who said that, the house really, one of them said, the house is a fortress. You really can't get in there without someone letting you in. So also the fact that
and if the house is a fortress,
drones,
it most definitely could have been the son, guy.
Manhunt whatsoever.
Allegedly.
So that really leads you to think that some of this other reporting that's out there, that it might have been a family member involved, has some truth to it, but this has not been confirmed.
No forced entry, guys, into the home either.
Indeed, more to come. Sharon,
they didn't find the unalived weapon either.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton. I'm the Chief of Detectives for the Los Angeles Police Department. I'm going to give a brief statement, and then we're going to address any questions that we can. I understand there are going to be questions regarding what occurred here tonight. I will not be able to provide information in a lot of areas that questions may be getting asked, but I'll do the best I can. So at approximately 3:40 this afternoon, Los Angeles police officers, along with the Los Angeles
house cost $14 million. They got to have. They got to have it. They got to have security cameras.
That there were two deceased individuals inside of the residence. The Los Angeles Police Department is now conducting an investigation at this residence here on Chadbourne, and that investigation will continue over the coming days. We will not be releasing any information regarding who was found deceased in the residence, because that will be done by the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office. So if there are any inquiries regarding the identity of the individuals that are deceased inside of the residence, that information will come from the LA County Coroner's Office. The current death investigation that is being conducted by the Los Angeles Police Department is going to be handled by the Homicide Special Section of Robbery Homicide Division of the Los Angeles Police Department. That investigation will move forward through the night, and tomorrow morning we will probably have additional information regarding what occurred here on Chadbourne and our investigation moving forward. We will not be releasing any further information regarding the investigation that is occurring here in Brentwood tonight. Our detectives will be responding along with our Forensic Science Division and our technical investigation division investigators to conduct a full crime scene investigation and determine the appropriateness of the investigation moving forward. At this time, the Los Angeles Police Department is not seeking anyone as a suspect or as a person of interest or in any other manner, and we will not be doing that until we conduct our investigation and we move forward. That's all I have right now at this early preliminary stage of this investigation. If you have questions that I can answer, I will answer them. I would just ask you, please, if we do not have the ability to answer the questions, that you remain patient over the coming hours and over the coming days. Starting tomorrow morning, we will be responding and providing additional information as it becomes publicly available.
Or being told that we know who actually made the call that brought fire department and police officers here. Has that person known and your release was what?
So we understand that the person reporting was here at the location. We're not going to release any information.
They're not telling any names right now.
Chief, why are you not looking? Chief, why are you not looking for a suspect?
Hold on, one at a time.
We're being told that a family member is being interviewed.
Asked about a family member.
Can you confirm that? And is that family member being cooperative?
There are going to be many family members interviewed. I'm not going to confirm whether someone's being interviewed at this time or not. We're going to try to speak to every family member that we can to get to the facts of this investigation.
Chief, why are you not looking for a suspect?
I'm sorry.
Chief, why are you not exactly looking for a suspect? Are you confident you know who did this?
We have not identified a suspect at this time.
Well, then shouldn't you be looking for one so these
Let's
neighbors
go.
aren't worried about their own lives and their own safety?
Yeah, so at this time, after we determine, so I need everyone to understand something. In order to comply with the legal process, before we do anything here, we have to get a search warrant because there are issues regarding standing at this residence. So as long as those legal requirements are met, we can continue the investigation. Now, when I tell you that we have not identified a suspect, it doesn't mean that we're not working the case. We will not identify a suspect until that person is identified as a suspect and we're legally seeking them if there is a crime to be reported and if that person is a suspect in that crime.
Has anyone been detained for questioning?
Hold on.
Alan, has
Did that
anyone
answer your
been
question, sir?
No. Has
Okay,
anyone been detained yet for questioning? Are you questioning people now that could be possible suspects and or a person or persons of interest?
They're asking the right questions.
No one has been detained. Specifically, your second question, no one is being interviewed.
What were the injuries? What were the injuries?
We're not gonna. Yeah, so we're not gonna comment on the injuries at this time. That information will be coming forward in the coming days as it's publicly releasable. If it is part of the investigation and it is not publicly releasable, we will not be releasing it.
Deputy Chief, are your detectives inside the home?
Hold on. One at a time. Whoa. Hold on, one at a time.
Sharon was up. Go ahead.
Are your detectives inside the home right now? Are they getting access to the home right now as we speak?
We're waiting for the legal process to move forward. We have to obtain a search warrant for the residents. As soon as that is complied with, we will be conducting a full crime scene investigation of the interior and the exterior of the residence and the surrounding neighborhood.
Just to follow up, Deputy Chief, is there somebody from the family not allowing detectives inside the home right now?
That's inconsequential. We have to comply with the legal process. It doesn't matter whether the family allows us in or not.
Detective, what are the...
Hold on,
Have
ma'am.
Have the family members been notified? The victim's family members been notified?
Has the family been notified of what? That an incident occurred here?
That there were two victims?
I believe the family's aware.
In other words, why are you not releasing their names? They're out there, Chief.
That's going to be the Los Angeles County Coroner that releases the information.
Chief, is this a homicide?
Ma'am, go ahead. Your question first.
Yes. Is this a homicide?
At this time, it's a death investigation. Again, until we get inside and we make a determination, we can't call it anything. So we're going to conduct that Hold on. We're going to conduct that investigation at the appropriate time. We will identify what kind of incident it is, and if it's determined to be a crime, we will seek the suspect. We will bring them to justice, and we will take them into
The
custody.
mayor has confirmed it's the Reiners. The mayor has already confirmed it's the Reiners. Can you tell us any more?
I can't speak for the mayor, but I can speak for the Los Angeles Police Department.
Just say it, man. The mayor already told it.
That are inside of the residence. And that will be, that will be the official notification and the official identification of the decedents inside of the residence.
Under what circumstances were the bodies discovered?
I'm not going to address that. Ma'am? Sure, there's a legal process whenever you're going to conduct an investigation at a crime scene in the state of California. There are certain requirements that you have to meet in order to conduct a thorough investigation. So you don't want to start a crime scene investigation and then have someone say, I need you guys to leave the residence right now. So we're gonna hold on. You asked a question. I'm gonna answer. So we have to comply with the legal process. Once the warrant is signed and delivered, we will have access to the crime scene. We will conduct a full, thorough, impartial investigation. We will conduct additional investigations in the neighborhood around this area. And then with that information, we will go forward with the investigation, whether it is a death investigation or some other type of investigation.
Besides robbing his wife, were there other people?
And I do want to be clear. Hold on. I want to be clear with one thing. Wherever we can be transparent and provide information to the public, we will release it as soon as we can.
One at a time. Alan, do we have a detail on the corner about when the proceedings may have passed?
No. That's going to be determined by the coroner. The coroner's not here.
It's been about 6 hours since the first report. Why is it taking so long to gain access to start this investigation?
I don't understand.
Well, it's been 6 hours since police were first called.
Yeah.
To the
So
scene.
okay. So just to be clear, there's an initial investigation when the patrol officers arrive. When they make a determination that detectives are needed, they will back out. We will conduct a sweep of the area to make sure that it's safe, and then we will comply with the legal process, and then we move forward. I'm not giving you the exact timeline on that, but I'm telling you that it's moving forward. Pete, you got another question?
Yes, a twofold question. One, how soon do we anticipate getting a warrant where you're able to search the entire property, interior and exterior? Second, do we have an ETA on the coroner's arrival? And once they arrive and make an initial determination, will they be able to give you identification that you can then release?
We'll be obtaining the warrant in real time very shortly if we have not obtained it already. In terms of the coroner's ETA, I cannot tell you when their estimated time of arrival is.
Chief, so
we're already in communication with the coroner's office.
But as far as the overall investigation is concerned, beyond the initial determination, we have two scenes inside. We really haven't done anything in the way of any kind of forensics on the death scene itself, right?
That's correct. We've only done preliminary investigation at this point.
the bodies remain inside, correct, Chief?
Okay, so nothing has occurred inside the house. The house is in the exact same state it was when the officers arrived, just to be clear.
Chief, are we safe in Brentwood tonight?
I'm sorry?
Are we safe in Brentwood tonight, Chief?
I can't hear you.
Are we safe in Brentwood, the neighbors of the community?
Oh, are we safe in Brentwood? I'm sorry. Yeah, so we have officers here at the scene. We have officers in the area. We're not looking for anyone in the Brentwood area at this point. We're not looking for anyone because we're still working on that part of the investigation.
Chief, besides the Reiners, Chief.
Hold on. Someone over here had a question.
What do you say about the fact that it's reported it was the son of the family?
I don't understand.
Rob Reiner's son is
Reported by who?
people?
Okay, I don't know. People magazine or people in the. I don't know anything about that. Yeah. That did not. Hold on. That did not come from the LAPD. Go ahead.
Deputy Chief, can you give us a sense of how many witnesses, if any, you guys have been able to talk to? Are there people you've been able to already touch base with who've been giving you useful information in terms of what unfolded inside that home?
So we've already been talking to the neighbors. We've already been canvassing the neighborhood and speaking to residents that live around this area. So that's part of our investigation. In terms of someone that may have information regarding what happened inside the residence, we're not going to release that information. That'll be part of the investigation.
We've confirmed.
Were there other family members living?
There's been no reports from the neighbors regarding hearing anything or seeing anything that we can release to the public.
Were there other family members residing inside the house besides Carl and his wife?
I don't have that information.
Timeline of this murder.
We haven't established that yet. We will establish that soon, and then that'll be part of the investigation.
Cause of death.
The part that is publicly releasable, we will release. The cause of death will be released by the LA County coroner.
Are you looking into them being stabbed?
We're looking into getting the information from the LA County coroner when it's available. Somebody over had a question. Yes, ma'am.
Say where in the home they were found?
We didn't say.
Were any weapons found at the scene?
We didn't say anything about weapons either.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Chief, again, Alan, we're calling this.
All right. So that was the official press conference, guys, that the police gave with this situation with Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle, both found unalived in their $14 million home, guys. Police are questioning the son right now. A lot of sources are saying that basically the son is the main suspect. You heard the police official right here say that they're not seeking any suspects because they may potentially have theirs. already in custody, man. It's crazy, guys. We know Rob Rayner was an outspoken leftist. The question is motive. Yeah, they're not saying anything. Not of yet. This is fresh, guys. That's most definitely breaking news. So I'm pretty sure as time goes on, they'll have more details for us. They'll be able to basically let us know if the son is basically the suspect or not. But we had another situation take place where we didn't. It didn't happen in the States, guys. This happened in Australia, guys, on Bundy Beach. Yeah, man, there was a shooting where a father and son, basically rained terror on Australia. Check this out.
So it was an act of pure evil, an act of anti-Semitism, an act of terrorism on our shores in an iconic Australian location, Bondi Beach, that is associated with joy, associated with
11 people injured, guys.
Associated with celebration.
No, 11 people unalived, 29 injured.
By what has occurred.
This is crazy.
Last evening. This was an attack deliberately targeted at the Jewish community on the first day of Hanukkah, which of course should be a joyous celebration. And the Jewish community are hurting today. Today, all Australians wrap our arms around them and say, we stand with you.
11 people unalive, 29 injured in Australia, guys, on Bundy Beach.
Scourge, and we will
breaking news
it together. The
okay, it's 16 now.
And ASIO are working.
Well, they saying it's 16 now with 29 in the hospital.
The briefing we've just had, we have had the AFP there, and the AFP Commissioner will return to Australia today. We will dedicate every single resource that is required in responding to this. To the brave responders, first responders, including ordinary citizens who acted yesterday, thank you for what you do. People rushing towards danger to show the best of the Australian character. That's who we are, people who stand up for our values. Flags will fly at half-mast across the country today as we pay our respects to all those lost and all those who have been injured. And we conclude by saying that yesterday was indeed a dark day in our nation's history, but we as a nation are stronger than the cowards who did this. I thank world leaders who have reached out, from President Macron, Prime Minister Starmer, others right around the world have reached out to Australia at this time, and we thank you for your sympathy and your solidarity with our values. Australia will never submit to division, violence or hatred, and we will come through this together. We refuse to let them divide us as a nation.
A father and son, IGT, open fire on a crowd attending a holiday
Thank you, Prime
event.
Minister. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Last night,
This
I
is in
announced that I
Australia.
had determined that it was a terrorist activity and made a declaration as such as 9:36 p.m. As a result of that declaration, we commenced Operation ARQUS, ARQUES, which is a joint counter-terrorism operation. That is New South Wales Police working very closely with our Commonwealth partners to ensure that we thoroughly investigate the circumstances of the incident yesterday. We have progressed at pace overnight with that investigation, and as a result of investigations undertaken, I can say that we are not looking for a further offender. We are satisfied that there were 2 offenders involved in yesterday's incident. One is deceased. The second is in critical but stable condition in hospital at the moment. The offenders are a 50-year-old,
What's up,
a 24-year-old male who are father and son.
There you go. Here go the suspects.
The 50-year-old.
Here you go right here. These are the people who they feel are responsible for doing
The
it.
offenders are a 50-year-old and 24-year-old male who are father and son. The 50-year-old is deceased. The 24-year-old is currently in hospital at the moment.
All right, the 50-year-old unalive guys who passed away.
Last night, one at Bonnie Rig and a second.
One of the suspects has passed away. The son is
The
still in the hospital.
50-year-old male is a licensed firearms holder. He has 6 firearms licensed to him. We are satisfied that we have 6 firearms from the scene yesterday, but also as a result of the search warrant at the Campsie address. Ballistics and forensic investigation will determine this morning that those 6 firearms are the 6 that were licensed to that man, but also that they were used.
They have recovered all 6 firearms, guys,
in the offence yesterday at Bondi. We will continue to investigate this matter thoroughly. It's important for the community to have the reassurance that New South Wales Police, working with our Commonwealth partners, will not stop until we understand the reasons behind this senseless incident and take any available action that we need to do. We always work closely with our Commonwealth partners to make sure that we keep the community safe. This is a very difficult time for all law enforcement agencies, and I would really like to call out the work of New South Wales Ambulance last night, and we're joined by the Commissioner Morgan this morning. The ambulance officers were absolutely outstanding in their response. 16 deceased persons is obviously a great tragedy for this state.
16 deceased persons, he said.
Our thoughts, prayers and love go out to all of the families of the deceased. We pray that those are injured recover quickly. I have 2 police officers currently in hospital at the moment. Both are in critical but stable condition. And again, the thoughts of the New South Wales Police are very much with those officers and their families. This morning, we commenced Operation Shelter. It is an operation that we have previously run. We have escalated the number of police that are involved. Operation Shelter is designed to provide comfort to the Jewish community. We will make sure that we are highly visible at places of worship, places that are known to be frequented by the Jewish community, but very much in those suburbs where we know that we have a large Jewish population. I want to make it very clear that the New South Wales Police will not tolerate the types of violence or the types of anti-Semitic behaviour that we have seen. We will have 328 officers on the ground this morning as part of Operation Shelter. That operation will continue to work very closely with the Jewish community to make sure that we both prevent but also respond to anything that may happen. I was very clear last night to call for calm. This is not a time for anyone to be seeking retribution. This is a time for community to grieve and to heal. The New South Wales Police will do what it does best, and that is to prevent but investigate offences that happen. And we will be here to support the community. I might hand over to Commissioner Morgan, I think, if there's anything you'd like to say, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Could I just express my condolences to the victims, the families and friends, and certainly those that remain in hospital at this time. Our best wishes and prayers are going out to you. This was obviously a significant incident that has occurred at Bondi Beach last night. New South Wales Ambulance got its initial call via New South Wales Police at 18:43 last evening. Our first crews were on scene within less than 10 minutes. This took a response of more than 123 personnel from New South Wales Ambulance. Both New South Wales Police and New South Wales Ambulance worked seamlessly, I'm advised, through this entire incident in support of the community. I cannot convey how important that is. We are told stories of amazing heroism, of paramedics and police working seamlessly together with members of the community. Some of our paramedics are from the Jewish community and attended that scene and continued their duties diligently and professionally.
Around 40 plus wounded. Wow.
Response, New South Wales Ambulance transported 24
including civilians and responding police officers.
There were attended 14 people who were deceased at the scene. Through the course of the evening, another 2 people succumbed to their conditions at New South Wales hospitals, and a total of 42 people attended New South Wales facilities. It is not uncommon in these major incidents for members of the community, sometimes often with very serious injuries, to make their own way to hospitals so that they are not burdening the resources of the services. This is what it means to be Australian. I do want to make the point that there is a significant amount of support available from the New South Wales health system. I could commend to the community that there are great resources available on the New South Wales Health website if you need mental health support, and some reference material if you also need that. Just in conclusion, I do want to make the point There were some amazing lessons learned from the Bondi Westfield Shopping Centre. Last night, I am told, the command structures were seamless, the joint agency approach, the ability for paramedics with the support of police to work in these hot zones, I'm absolutely convinced contributed to the saving of lives that otherwise would have been lost. Finally, just one message for the first responders at these scenes. You are an inspiration to us all. The way you put yourself in harm's way, your courage and resilience, we all thank you.
It's crazy, guys. Amid the chaos, hold on, let's see. Official report: amid the chaos, a bystander tackled and disarmed one of the gunmen. Actions widely credited with saving numerous lives. The man who confronted the shooter, despite great personal risk, man. So somebody stepped up, man, to stop this. Wow, man, that's a lot of people. 60 people lost their lives, guys. Over 30 injured, 40, I think.
I prefer not to comment at the moment. We're still very early in the investigation. We'll be happy to provide further information that it goes along. I want to give our investigators the opportunity to investigate thoroughly without speculation. We did hear last night a lot of information was coming forward.
No, I don't want
to make sure that it's accurate.
Commissioner, there are reports of black ISIS-style flag was draped over the gunman's car. Are police aware of this as a flag being recovered?
That's all part of the investigation. As I just said before, I'd rather
it may be too graphic for you
Obviously,
to.
we will look at the motives behind this attack, and I think that's really important as part of the investigation. Our investigation will be thorough, and we will be happy to provide further information.
Was there any watch list or intelligence?
Sorry, can I just have one? Sorry.
Was there any indication that these shooters were known to any service ahead of time?
There was no indication to indicate that either of the men involved in yesterday's attack was planning the attack that happened yesterday.
How was the father able to get a gun license?
Sorry.
Any manifesto or notes?
Again, that is part of the investigation. I don't want to go into that this morning. We've got investigators that have been working around the clock. I'm incredibly proud of the work that has been undertaken so far. We want to get to the bottom of this. We want to understand the motives behind it, and we certainly want to understand the actions that have happened. I cannot give a running commentary on the investigation. I want to give the investigators time to work through this properly.
It's crazy, guys. So that was the hold up. That was the hold on. What is going on? All right, yeah, man. That was the official update, guys. Let's keep this moving as we find out more. Hold on. They kind of gave us a timeline and an insight, you know, basically into what took place, guys. Check this out.
Worst mass shooting in nearly 30 years after 15 people died, including a 10-year-old girl, during
this is on Bundy
for a
Beach
Jewish festival in Sydney.
in Australia, guys. A father and son, they believe.
Now, it happened at Bondi Beach at a gathering marking the beginning of Hanukkah. Police say it was a terrorist attack.
Can we get 40 more likes, guys? Double tap that screen. There it is.
From video footage filmed by bystanders and verified by the BBC. It shows two gunmen firing indiscriminately from a small bridge towards a park. Of what happened from video footage filmed by bystanders and verified by the BBC. It shows two gunmen firing indiscriminately from a small bridge towards a park and beach area. One of the men then leaves but keeps firing. As the violence continues, a bystander tackles the gunman, grabbing his weapon. He's now been hailed a hero and named locally as Ahmed Al-Ahmed. Other bystanders step in.
Wow, guys.
Well, one of the gunmen was later killed, and the second
confronted that guy. One of
park and beach area. One of the It shows two gunmen firing indiscriminately from a small bridge towards a park and beach area. One of the men then leaves but keeps firing. As the violence continues, a bystander tackles the gunman, grabbing his weapon. He's now been hailed a hero and named locally as Ahmed Al-Ahmed. Other bystanders step in to help. Well, one of the gunmen was later killed, and the second suspect is now in a critical condition in hospital. We'll bring you reaction from around the world, including here in the UK. But first, Katie Watson has our top story tonight from Bondi Beach. Her report contains some distressing scenes.
Horror on Bondi, an unimaginable scene on Australia's most famous beach. People running, but from what? At this point, few understood what was unfolding.
I went to the window and I just saw a guy in a white car on top of it, letting off shots going off. And then there was an older lady who was on the right-hand side of the pathway who was put down. So I saw her go down, and I saw a guy on the left-hand side go down.
And it was like a grandma. She was
witnesses from the scene, guys.
And then like a lot of people, they've been crying. Some people, they became white as well. And yeah, I feel very sad for the Jewish community because it was like a party for them.
The two gunmen were father and son, indiscriminately targeting what was meant to be a family celebration of Hanukkah.
Official reports, guys.
Some 1,000
was in
people
Australia.
enjoying the Jewish Festival of Lights in a small park overlooking the water. After a long standoff with police, the father was shot dead. His son seriously injured. He's been named by local media as 24-year-old Naveed Akram from Bonnyrigg in Sydney's southwest. The weapons used in the shooting were licensed to the older gunman.
We are satisfied that we have 6 firearms from the scene yesterday, but also as a result of the search warrant at the Campsie address. Ballistics and forensic investigation will determine this morning that those 6 firearms are the 6 that were licensed to that man, but also that they were used in the offence yesterday at Bondi.
These are confronting scenes in a country that prides itself on its low rates of violent crime. A sunny Sunday at the beach turned into a nightmare. Local Bondi residents desperately trying to save people's lives. Victims as young as 10, as old as 87. Among those who died, London-born Rabbi Eli Schlanger, a father of 5 who worked at a Jewish cultural centre in Bondi.
What we saw yesterday was an act of pure evil, an act of anti-Semitism, an act of terrorism on our shores in an iconic Australian location, Bondi Beach, that is associated with joy, associated with families gathering, associated with celebrations.
Most people ran when the shots rang out. This man didn't.
Horrible, guys.
He's been hailed a hero.
He ran to the gunfire, took the gun from the
Named
suspect.
locally as Ahmed Al-Ahmed, he made the brave decision to pounce on the gunman from behind, wrestling the weapon off him and making it clear to police he had nothing to do with the 2 men. Then, another bystander, showing his fury.
Man, he's the hero.
Thank you to innocent bystanders and civilians who stood up, risked their own lives to save other people's lives. This is a terrible, wanton act of destructive violence, but there are still amazing people that we have in Australia, and they showed their true colours last night.
Throughout the night, police worked hard to secure the scene. An explosive device was removed from a car thought to be one of the gunmen's. That is no longer a threat.
There were 2 improvised explosive devices found at the scene. They were taken by our rescue and bomb disposal unit. They were found to be active devices, so they were taken back and rendered safe by our police who do a professional job.
But this is a country in shock. Mass shootings rarely happen here, and in Bondi too, a beach that defines Sydney, this laid-back and safe city that people are so proud of. Australians are in utter disbelief something like this has happened. Katie Watson, BBC News in Bondi.
We'll have more from Katie in a moment, but much of the attack was filmed by onlookers and reveals a sequence of horrifying events. Joe Inwood's report contains some distressing scenes.
Actual scene, actual
this is the earliest footage we have of the gunman. It's not clear how soon after the attack started they began filming, but it captures the rest of the event.
Over 40 people injured, guys.
It takes place on Campbell Parade at the northern end of Bondi Beach.
Can we get 30 more on that like button? Double tap that screen if you're on a mobile device. Or click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up.
Was taking place. About 30 seconds after this footage stopped.
This is crazy, guys. They just playing target practice with real humans, man. Father and son. 50-year-old dad, unalive. I think the son is 24. He's in the hospital, guys. A brave civilian, guys. A civilian. You know, basically bum rush. The youngest one that had the gun took it from him. The father had already been shot. Yeah, man, and basically put a stop to all of this, so it may still be going, man. Over 40 people injured, and I think they said like 16 unalive, man.
One of them,
in Australia.
the one in white trousers, moves off the bridge to take up a position around here, from where he can fire at point-blank range at the crowds. 2 minutes and 50 seconds after the video begins, we have the extraordinary moment when a passerby decides to tackle him.
Oh! There go the civilian right there.
He disarms him and gets him to back off, before eventually laying down the weapon and taking cover behind the tree. 60 seconds after he was disarmed, the man in white trousers is back on the bridge and firing with a different weapon. We then see the 30 seconds after that, when he is shot. The second man, the one in black trousers, continues firing in both directions for another minute and a half before he too is shot.
Yeah! Yeah, they got him.
At this point, we see a couple of people who appear to be members of the public approach them. Another shot is then fired.
Oh, man. Wow.
It's not clear where from, but it seems to be aimed at the man who has just arrived. You hear the person filming shout, "Wow, stop, no, stop," presumably concerned someone who was trying to help, may be confused as an attacker. Eventually, 7.5 minutes after this footage began, police make it onto the bridge, where they find one attacker dead and another critically wounded.
Joe Inwood reporting there.
Wow,
John, Katie at Bondi Beach. Have police, Katie, been saying any more about what they knew about the suspects?
Yeah, well, on Sunday evening, the police said that one of the gunmen was known, but not from an immediate threat perspective. And they updated that earlier today, saying that the older gunman did have a firearms license for several years, but there were no incidents, and it was all registered. But no doubt they are going through the run-up to this attack, the worst in 30 years. Here in Australia, and the mood here, you can see behind me the bridge where the attack took place. It's all cordoned off. People have been laying flowers this morning. There's a school opposite that has closed. The community here is absolutely reeling. They cannot believe something like this could have happened here in Bondi.
All right, Katie, thank you. Katie Watson there at Bondi Beach. Well, there's been reaction from around the world to events in Sydney. Donald Trump described the attack as purely anti-Semitic. King Charles
President
said
Trump
both
has
he
spoke
and the
on
Queen are appalled and saddened. And Sir Keir Starmer says police here will increase patrols around synagogues and in Jewish communities as Hanukkah celebrations continue. The family of the British-born rabbi who died in the attack, Eli Schlanger, describe him as a caring man who loved helping people. Here's Lucy Manning.
The message of Hanukkah is that there is light even in the darkest of times. So in London and across the UK, the Jewish Festival of Lights was celebrated amidst the darkness of a deadly anti-Semitic attack. Just last Hanukkah, London-born Rabbi Eli Schlanger was celebrating Hanukkah in his own joyful way. The best response to anti-Semitism, he said. His British family told the BBC people should spread light in his memory.
Eli was a really wonderful, warm, caring, vivacious, energetic.
They're calling this the terror attack,
who
guys.
loved people, loved doing good, and loved caring for other people. I know this is what Eli would be saying. Go and do good things.
In North London and at other Hanukkah events, there was an increased police presence. Hani went to school with Rabbi Schlanger.
He was a father. He had a 2-month-old baby, 40 years old, in the prime of his life, taken by cold murderers.
How are the community feeling on the first night of Hanukkah?
We are reeling in pain, but we are going around, carrying on to make the world a bigger and better place, bringing acts of goodness, acts of light.
The Jewish community is still determined to celebrate its festivals, but there is some increasing fear with rising anti-Semitism. 3 Jewish festivals and 3 deadly attacks. Hanukkah in Bondi Beach, Yom Kippur 2 months ago in Manchester, and Simchat Torah in Israel on October the 7th.
As the Prime Minister lit Hanukkah candles with his wife, who is Jewish, he said in a social media post that the anti-Semitic terrorist attack against Jewish families was sickening. Rabbi Schlanger had, like many Jews and the Israeli government, criticised the Australian government's response to rising violent attacks against the community there.
Your government did nothing to stop the spread of anti-Semitism in Australia. You did nothing to curb the cancer cells that were growing inside your country. You took no action. You let the disease spread. And the result is the horrific attacks on Jews we saw today.
President Trump told the Jewish world they should still celebrate Hanukkah proudly.
But to Australia and the Prime Minister, to everybody that we know so well, we get along with so well, we have a great
Trump has
relationship.
spoken,
That's a
guys.
terrible situation going on over there. Think of that.
Hanukkah is the story of the survival of the Jewish religion. And yet, on the first day of this festival, people were again murdered just because they were Jews. Lucy Manning, BBC News.
Yes, Madeline, this is crazy. Yeah, man. So, yeah, man, Australia is suffering right now, guys. Prayers for Australia, you know, for what they're going through at the hand of this father and son, guys. It's crazy. More on that situation.
New York Times this morning is all too familiar. Sydney carnage targets Jews. Anti-Semitism, as we've been saying on this show for far too long, it continues to be a scourge, and it continues to be a scourge.
They are calling
this
this
America, not just in the Middle
terror
East.
attack, guys.
Unfortunately, Mika, as this weekend shows,
Yeah, we just got through
all
watching the
across
footage a
the
second
world.
ago.
All right, we turn to the news in Australia now. At least 15 people are dead, including a
15
child, and
people,
more than
guys.
40 others injured after two gunmen
Over 40 injured.
opened fire during a Hanukkah celebration on Sydney's famed Bondi Beach late yesterday. It is the deadliest shooting in Australia in nearly 30 years. Officials are calling it a terrorist attack, with Australia's Prime Minister saying the target was Jewish people.
This was an attack deliberately targeted at the Jewish community on the first day of Hanukkah, which of course should be a joyous celebration. And the Jewish community are hurting today. Today, all Australians wrap our arms around them and say, we stand with you. We will do whatever is necessary to stamp out anti-Semitism. It is a scourge, and we will eradicate it together.
The victims range in age from 10 to 87 and include a rabbi, a Holocaust survivor, an Israeli citizen, and a French citizen. As of this morning, 27 people remain hospitalized, including at least a dozen in critical condition. Police identified the two shooting suspects as a father and son, ages 50 and 24. Authorities fatally shot the 50-year-old at the scene. They say the 24-year-old suffered critical injuries and is currently in the hospital. This incredible video shows a bystander identified by relatives as Ahmed Al-Ahmed jumping on one of the gunmen during the rampage and disarming him. Authorities later praised his actions, calling him a hero. Police say the 24-year-old suspect was known to security services and was investigated for 6 months back in 2019. But officials say there was no prior indication of a planned attack. 6 guns were recovered from a property linked to the older shooter, and 2 improvised explosive devices were found and rendered safe. So, Joe, this was horrific, absolutely horrific, but that man who disarmed one of the gunmen might have saved a lot more lives.
He may have, and again, as
Shout out to
we
that
were
brave
told
civilian,
here,
guys.
as
That
you
brave
told us,
citizen.
This is the worst attack in Australia in 30 years. Much like we saw an attack in New Zealand several years ago that that seem to be a one-off, but unfortunately, the spread of anti-Semitism is going global in ways that it hadn't before. And it has been a scourge for thousands and thousands of years. But social media, David French, unfortunately, is linking people up. And we saw it in the New Zealand shooting several years ago. We don't know about this one, but again, unfortunately, this headline, Sydney carnage targets Jews on Hanukkah. Terror attack, the Wall Street Journal writes. In Australia, targets Jews. David, we've seen it time and time again, and unfortunately, it's widespread. I mean, the Republican Party right now is going through a political war between those who are accusing the other side of being anti-Semites, and a lot going back and forth. And certainly, we saw it during the demonstrations a few years ago. The far left also just has far too many people who are anti-Semitic.
And often way too much before October 7th. What you've seen are people, they're not targeting the Israeli government. This is not about attacking the IDF. This is about attacking Jews wherever they are in the world. We have seen this. We have seen this targeting of Jews in America, targeting of Jews in Australia, targeting of Jews in France, in Britain, in country after country after country. It's not about, they're not going after the Israeli government. They're going after Jewish people who are living their daily lives. And that is, and Joe, as you said, you're seeing it on the far right and you're seeing it on the far left. I mean, there's this concept called horseshoe theory. When the two sides get more and more extreme, they get closer together. And I'm telling you, it is the responsibility of the big American middle, that great global center, to stand up, to assert itself, and to say this is absolute evil.
Yeah. Let's go live to Bondi Beach in Sydney, where Sky News correspondent Nicole Johnston is standing by with the latest. Nicole, what more can you tell us?
Well, it's been a very solemn day here at Bondi Beach, as you can imagine. You can see some of the crowd behind me all day. Hundreds of people have been coming to the pavilion at Bondi. They've been bringing flowers, paying their respects and trying to comfort each other in a time of great national shock. This is the last thing that anybody would ever expect to happen in Australia, a country that is normally quite cohesive and peaceful. Obviously, today, most of the focus has been on the police investigation on the 50-year-old man and his 24-year-old son. All sorts of questions are being raised. For example, how did they manage to get their hands on such a large cache of weapons?
They had 6 weapons, guys.
And firearms. The elder man had gun registration license. He had 6 weapons that he was legally allowed to own. This is highly unusual in Australia because this country has very strict gun ownership rules. Now, the government is trying to come up with some kind of response. They've said that they're considering making these gun ownership rules even stricter. At the same time, we're getting increasing rhetoric about this concern of rising anti-Semitism in the country. Ever since the war started between Israel and Hamas, there have been attacks on Jewish sites in Australia, on synagogues, on an Israeli restaurant here, and on a Jewish school. So there is concern about that. But the various Muslim, Christian and Jewish communities in Australia are trying to come together. There have been interfaith meetings. There'll be more held this week. And they're saying to people that they need to stay united and not allow this attack to divide the country even further. And that's why we are seeing people come down here to try and support one another. But actually, just in the last hour, we had the country's Home Affairs Minister down here. And as he was leaving, there was a lot of abuse hurled at him, people criticising him on issues of immigration. So just as we see in Europe and the United States, there is division within Australia as well.
Sky News correspondent Nicole Johnston, live from Sydney, Australia. Thank you very much for your reporting this morning. And David Rohde, I wanted to go back to this video of this man who authorities in Australia are calling a hero for disarming one of the gunmen. It's a pretty incredible scene where he is able to grab this huge long gun and yank it away from him, possibly saving a lot more lives. Do you have some more to say about what we don't see in that video?
Yes, and I just want to say the level of anti-Semitism just worldwide is astonishing and unacceptable. So this one man, Ahmed, as we can see, he rushes towards, it's the younger son, wrestles the gun away from him, as you're seeing right now on your screen. He has a chance to shoot him, but he doesn't. And he actually puts the gun down. After that, he might have feared that the law enforcement would think he was a gunman. And the son then goes over to the father, picks up another weapon, and shoots Ahmed al-Ahmed, the hero here. He wounds him in the shoulder and the leg. And so Ahmed al-Ahmed is now in a hospital. He's recovering. His relatives have
okay, so the guy who took the gun also got shot, though.
Amazing heroism in a time of sort of incredible darkness. And again, whether it's in the
he
United
saved
States
a lot of lives
Australia,
doing that,
just
man. That's
unacceptable and horrific levels of anti-Semitism worldwide.
An extraordinary moment of darkness, and Jewish people here in New York City, in the United States, around the world, fearful to go about their daily lives, and to happen on the first night of Hanukkah there in Australia. Certainly we know there has been increased security presence at synagogues and the like, though no credible belief that anything untoward is planned here, but this sense of awareness. So I think it should, in this moment of darkness and an unrelenting weekend of terrible news, we should certainly highlight the heroism of this man who came to those who came to aid to those people he did not know, risked his own life, got wounded, but saved countless.
So much
yes, he did. He saved a lot of lives, guys.
And getting the firearm.
Let's continue to double tap that screen, man. Can we get the likes? Double tap that screen if you have not. Make sure you subscribe to the channel.
And then this weekend began with 3 Americans dying in Syria in an ISIS attack. 2 service members and a U.S. citizen who was a translator. So huge sacrifice.
Prayers, man, for the people of Australia, guys.
Senior national security reporter David Rode, thank you very much for coming on this morning. And
prayers for Australia, guys. Wow. Yeah, make sure you're subscribing to the channel if you're new. Most definitely double tap that screen if you're on a mobile device, or click those 3 dots in the right-hand corner and hit that thumbs up, guys. Yeah, man, very active weekend, guys. There's a lot going on, not only overseas, but right here in America as well. Let me see the name of it. The Brown University shooting, guys. Y'all heard about that? I mean, man, look, it's a bunch of mass situations going on. And yeah, man, it's crazy. It is most definitely crazy. Let's go here. Let's go right here. You know what I'm saying? To the official details of what happened at Brown University, guys. Wow.
Development here on the campus of Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. Police released the man who had been detained as a person of interest in the deadly shooting here that happened.
Now, this is crazy. They detained somebody for this situation that they thought may be a suspect. Turns out they wouldn't, and they are free to go. So now they are still looking for a suspect in this situation. Check it out.
Right in that building behind me with those white squares, that's the engineering building where 2 people were killed and 9 injured. Rhode Island's Attorney General says that the evidence now points in a different direction. Speaking overnight, the mayor of Providence acknowledged that authorities have no way of knowing if the shooter is still in the area or...
Hey, positive vibes.
We know that this is likely to cause fresh anxiety for our community. And we want to reiterate what we said earlier, which remains true, which is ever since the initial call, now a day and a half ago, we have not received any credible or specific threats to the Providence community.
All right, 2 students were killed, at least 9 others injured in the attack, which happened Saturday
2 unalived, 9 injured, guys. There go the gunman.
Surveillance.
Here's the gunman. That's him walking away. This is the guy who is responsible, guys. Brown University.
In a Principles of Economics review session. Surveillance footage shows someone who the police believe is the gunman wearing dark clothing, leaving the university building. Where
this is right here in America, guys.
Right now, Hope Street. CNN's Brian
The last
Todd
one was
is
in
here
Australia.
with this breaking news, which just so radically changes the situation here at Brown this morning. Brian, what are you learning?
It is extraordinary, John, this turn of events where this person of interest, by the way, regarding whom they had gathered a lot of evidence. We were there all day yesterday at that hotel in Coventry when they were processing evidence for that person, now is released. You know, the decision.
Person of interest detained in connection with the attack has been released. 2 unalived, 9 injured. Classes and exams canceled. Brown, no immediate threat to the community, guys. Let's go.
As to why they released it, the police chief, Oscar Perez, did speak about that. Here is some of what the police chief said about basically how they came to this decision last night.
This was a very complex investigation, and still is. So in the sense, we followed on a lead, and we followed on a specific lead, but we were able to examine every single evidence that led us to this individual. And at that point, that's how investigations work. Investigations will tell us whether something is valid or not, whether something needs to be ruled out. It's not a mistake. It's just how investigations work.
And a couple of extraordinary things here, John. Number one, the mayor, Brent Smiley, saying last night they have no way of knowing whether the gunman is in the community or even in the state. And yet they are saying that there is no credible or no immediate threat to the community, and there's no need for a lockdown or no need for a shelter in place. Those two things may seem kind of incongruous here as this investigation continues. So we have to dig on this. You know, is there any indication of where this gunman may be? It's extraordinary that they're saying they have no way of knowing whether this person is in the state or not. I think another question that we have to kind of dig on here.
This happened over the weekend.
Surveillance footage.
This is the latest update
of the guy going around the corner. They did say there was very little or no footage from inside the building from that moment. So we have to kind of figure out, or hopefully the authorities will give us some clues as to
this happened at Brown's University.
We just don't know what they have at this point or where they even begin. One thing that we should make clear, they never publicly stated the name of this person of interest. This was something that was developed by CNN and other outlets via sources from inside there. But they were careful throughout the day about releasing information, but it turned out they just don't feel like they had the right guy. Brian Todd, great reporting on this. Obviously, a lot more to do. Thank you very much. With us now, CNN law enforcement analyst Jonathan Wackrow. Jonathan, great to see you this morning. Let's start with where we are and where we're going. So what now? I mean, after you have a person of interest in custody, you develop all this kind of evidence on that person, but it turns out you now believe he's not connected. What do you do?
Yeah, well, John, listen to that sigh of relief that authorities had announced when they stated that they had a person of
it's crazy, y'all.
interest.
He just walking like it ain't nothing.
Really been
like he ain't did a thing.
Sobering reset in the entire investigation. And the reality is it brings investigators back.
All right, so let's see some of the footage that they have regarding this situation, guys. Let's go over here. Hold on. Yeah, we most definitely got to see what they got over here. Let's go.
9 people injured in a shooting at
Brown's University, guys.
Authorities are still searching for the suspect. Hours later,
no suspect.
The suspect who opened fire during final exams just this afternoon. Police describing the suspect as a male dressed all in black.
Preliminarily, all we have is a suspect that was a male dressed in black. It is unknown how he entered the building, but we do know that he exited the Hope Street side of that complex. We're utilizing every resource possible to find this suspect.
And yet all these hours later, a lockdown order remains in place for the surrounding community. The school says the shooting happened at an engineering and physics building where multiple exams were taking place. One student tells CNN she was studying in that building, and then she heard 5 or 6 shots.
We are encouraging anyone who was a witness to today's action to please contact the police as the investigation is ongoing and they may have critical information.
And I heard like multiple gunshots.
Well, video shows students evacuating once authorities and first responders arrived. President Trump said he's been briefed. There's that video now, as those students have to go through what is, well, such a familiar American experience, and that is responding to an active shooter. President Trump, as I mentioned, said he had been briefed. Federal law enforcement agencies, including the Secret Service, the FBI, and ATF, are now assisting local law enforcement in their response. Some 400 officers, we're told, now involved in the ongoing manhunt. The mayor is asking the public for any help they can offer.
We are encouraging anyone who was a witness to today's action to please contact the police, as the investigation is ongoing and they may have critical information.
As we said, and this is crucial, there is still a lockdown in effect, and the shooter is still at large. We're going to go to Providence, Rhode Island now. We're joined by Lynn Sullivan. She's the regional executive editor of the Providence Journal, which has been covering this throughout the evening. Lynn, listen, first, my heart goes out to your community, because this is something so many American communities have gone through. And the sad fact is the community is still going through it right now, with the shooter still at large. What do we know? And how far does that lockdown area extend at this point?
Well, it's one interesting thing about Brown University. I think when people think of a college, they may think of a campus that's sort of surrounded by a gate or something like that. And, you know, Brown does have like a quad, but Brown is also very spread out among an area with a lot of residential homes, businesses.
A lot of them, so we got to wait on the release the names, Rob.
Rhode Island School of Design is right there as well. So this is a large area. It's a lot of people under lockdown. As we just learned, the Buffalo Bills are still in lockdown in their hotel. The opposing team of the Patriots typically stays in Providence the night before game. So they're there. Many restaurants sort of shut down early for the evening. One play that was going on, a Christmas play was going on, and that let out early. It's been disruptive to the city for sure, because it's this school shooting, but maybe in a different way than some other school shootings. This sort of involved the whole area, the whole community, the whole neighborhood in that area.
I mean, the issue with the campus data, I imagine, is it's porous, right? So that there would be a lot of ways for the shooter to exit the scene. Now, to what degree are police sharing how much they know, whether they have any leads on the potential identity of the shooter, or what direction the shooter took after he left the site of the shooting by the engineering building?
Yeah, so they know which direction he went, but again, it's difficult. It's nighttime. There's a lot of people in the city right now, just because there's holiday events and things like that happening as well. And I think nowadays we find the police are pretty close-lipped when it comes to things. You have the sense that they know, but they don't want to.
A mass unalived event happened at Brown University, Leah J. 2 people unalived, 9 people injured, guys. No suspect.
Their hand a little bit. So, but I do know too, because this isn't a contained area, there are a number of businesses and private homes that have cameras. And so I'm sure that they're trying to go through footage and see what they can see.
Listen, the lockdown is understandable because the shooter is still at large. It's still a fluid situation, as authorities continue to say. But I wonder, is there any guidance as to how long they can continue the lockdown, right? Because, I mean, it could take some time to find the shooter, depending on what stage of the investigation they're at.
Exactly. I think when you think of a more contained college campus, it would be easier to keep them under lockdown. You're right. Keeping, an entire city neighborhood under lockdown would be tricky for sure.
Yeah. Listen,
it's reminiscent for us in the newsroom. It's reminiscent of the marathon bombing right now.
Yeah.
That was so close for us, but
You're right. And listen, I mean, the one parallel, right, is early on, did they have a suspect? Did they know who the suspect was? And there were a lot of confusion at the time. Lynn Sullivan,
Yep.
Let's go, Lynn.
We appreciate the work you and your team are doing there as you continue to cover this story. I want to go to the White House now. My colleague Julie Benbrook has been standing by. And Julia, early on,
I wonder if the White House is going to speak on it. Well, he did speak on it.
Updates in progress, and then updated those updates because initially he shared information that the suspect was in custody, coming from campus authorities, but then had to correct that, say, actually, no, the suspect's not in custody. Is the White House sharing any more information tonight?
That's right, Jim. And it just really kind of illustrates the confusion that has gone on throughout this evening. We saw back social media posts.
Trying to refresh this to see if it'll work, if it'll help. Hold on real quick. The skipping is getting on my nerves. See if this helping any, guys. Brown University, you know what I'm saying? Mass unaliving, guys.
Would be helping on the ground. He also said at that time that there was a suspect in custody. That was followed up quickly after with another social media post retracting that part of it. He said that University Police had also retracted that there was a suspect in custody. And we did get a bit of a clarification on that during one of the press conferences this evening. Local officials said that there was someone they thought was involved at the time. That did not turn out to be the case. When Trump arrived back here at the White House this evening, he did speak with reporters. His comments were brief. He only commented on the shooting. He said that he was thinking of and praying for the victims and their family members. We know at this point that 2 people were killed
right there.
and 9 others wounded. But this confusion, this chaos continues on. The Rhode Island governor spoke earlier. He said that he's in contact with several other leaders, including some here in the Trump administration. He actually had a phone call just a little while ago with the president himself. The governor said that he expressed a sense of urgency and offers to help. He also said that he has been in contact and is receiving direct help from FBI Director Kash Patel. Patel put out a statement. I want to read you part of it.
All right, they got Kash Patel on it.
FBI personnel are on the scene and assisting this evening after the shooting at Brown University, and we will provide all capabilities necessary. Please pray for all of those involved. He also promised to keep the updates coming as there are updates available, but still a lot of questions here tonight, Jim.
Yeah, and of course, just 2 families dealing with the awful news of having lost loved ones this evening. Julia Benbrook at the White House, thanks so much. Joining me now is a student at Brown who is still
eyewitness, guys,
under lockdown as the community is under lockdown. Ethan Schenker joins me now. Ethan, thanks so much for joining. First, I got to ask you, how you doing? It has to be enormously stressful to knowing that the shooter is still at large and you still have to remain under lockdown.
Hi, Jim, for having me. I'm
footage
right now in a library where I've been on lockdown for almost 6 hours now with a lot of other students here studying for finals. And we're kind of in line waiting to evacuate. It seems that people don't really know what's going on. I think everything has been very fluid, especially with the identification of a suspect in custody and that's walking that back. So I think everyone's just really on edge right now.
Oh, I'm sure.
This is crazy, man.
Sorry, you have to go through this with your friends there. Have authorities, have university officials given you any sense of how much longer you'll be on lockdown?
Right.
Or are they saying perhaps this continues until the suspect is caught?
Yeah, we're
Seems
not sure.
like a movie, but this is real life.
Updates around through email, by text, but it's gotten less and less frequent as time has elapsed since the shooting. But given that of all waiting to be evacuated, not quite sure to where, this seems like something that isn't to up in either until they find this person or I don't know what else.
Good morning, Will. This morning, Brown University remains under lock.
That ain't what I'm looking at. That ain't what I'm looking for. Yeah, that's crazy, ain't it, guys? University. Yeah, man. 2 people unalive, 9 people injured. Yeah, it's crazy, y'all. All right, so let's get into a little politics. We all know Caroline Levitt, right? Well, she's Trump's press secretary. She comes out from the White House, does press conferences time to time. We heard a report about her sister-in-law basically being detained by ICE and was being held in one of the facilities where she has got out. And guess what, guys? She is telling her story. Most definitely gotta take a look at this. This is Caroline Levitt's nephew's mom, which is basically like her sister-in-law, talking about what happened, guys. Check it out. Shout out to everybody in the building. Breaking news. Caroline Levitt's sister-in-law comes out speaking about being detained by ICE, guys.
I know that you were released only about 5 days ago. And I can't imagine these last several days, really month, has been like for you. So I'll begin with just, how are you holding up? What have you been going through?
It hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy because even when I'm back at home and I'm sleeping, I still feel like, it's not real that I'm still in there. But with my family and through the generous help of Todd and his team of people, it's facilitated my coming back out into civilization, because in there it's not a civil, there's no rhyme or reason there. Schedule, it's exhausting.
You've been out for 5 days. Have you been able to see your son, reconnect with him, talk to him?
I have been able to FaceTime him, but I have not been able to do what I had envisioned, which was go and surprise him and give him a hug and tell him that all of these things that
this is Caroline Levitt's sister-in-law, guys.
Been allowed to watch television.
Her nephew's mom,
criminal, and that I'm
her brother's
all of these other ludicrous things.
Ex-wife or wife,
alleging that I am. I don't know how any parent could sleep at night knowing that their son is enduring all of these, harsh feelings.
How is it that you haven't seen him? What happened?
So Michael's still in school, and vacation for Christmas is coming up, so I understand that school is very important, but I planned to see him because it was a half day on that Thursday, and I called his father several times and he just didn't answer me. He said that they were going to get a haircut and then he was going to drive him down. So I had to check in with immigration and the attorneys before I could drive anywhere, because I was put on a GPS system, which was just another ridiculous obstacle I had to overcome because I was afraid to cross state lines and be incarcerated all over again. So, they set you free, but you're still, having to jump through all these hoops and make sure that you're not breaking any laws that they don't even inform you about. They're kind of setting you up for failure in a sense.
Todd, have you ever seen a case like this?
No, it's just absolutely unfounded what they do. Like, we have the bond hearing on Monday, and literally I have one of their own go against them. Our managing attorney worked at DHS for 7 years, Jason Thomas. So we just go through chapter and verse how this narrative is completely false, calling her a criminal illegal alien. They said about everyone's a criminal illegal alien or an illegal alien, and then when you peel back the onion, it's proved false every time. Every one of these cases we've had in the last months, same narrative, illegal alien. They're claiming she's a criminal, yet she's never been arrested for anything other than this illegal, unconstitutional arrest on November the 12th. They claim it's a crime, and what it is when she was 16 years old, she got into her and another girl pushing each other over $8 at a Dunkin' Donuts. It's supposed to be private under the law. It's protected under privilege. It's not supposed to be disclosed anywhere. And yet that's what they keep regurgitating. And when Jason Thomas made the argument with me on Monday, the government lawyer, when we were done, after saying she's not a criminal illegal alien, that she's not a danger to society, that she's not a flight risk, the government's lawyer said 2 words: I stipulate. That means factually and legally, the DHS lawyer, their spokesperson in court, agreed with everything we said. And then after they have another press release calling her yet another criminal illegal alien, claiming that the Joe Biden judge, let her out of jail. But, Barack Hussein Obama's who started moving proceedings, not Donald Trump. So since he has such a problem with everything Obama did, maybe you should stop these proceedings and dismiss him entirely, because this is ridiculous. They put her on an ankle monitor. They treat her like a sex offender. And then we showed up at 8 a.m. Friday morning, threatening to sue them yet again for the illegal, brazen behavior. And then they take the GPS monitor off 20 minutes later.
Bruna, you were sent to a notorious facility.
This is Caroline Levitt's sister-in-law,
down
guys,
in
that was
Louisiana.
detained by ICE, telling the
What were those
story.
days like for you? What did you see and experience inside?
I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it with my own two eyes, if I didn't hear it with my own ears. There are women in there that are pregnant. There are women in there that need a root canal and have been seeking medical attention for weeks. This isn't a day or a couple of hours. It is horrifying to experience something like that, because the only thing that I can think of is I'm so lucky that I'm healthy and I don't have any problems, I'm not diabetic, because those women, you know, they go to medical, they try to seek medical assistance, and they're there hours. That's even if they get treated. It's horrifying. It's freezing cold in there. And my mom said, well, how is it cold, honey, in South Louisiana? I'm like, outside it may be warm, I'm not sure. We get to go out for a brief period and getting to and from the cafeteria area, but inside it is literally freezing. They make you order a sweater that takes 5 to 7 days for it to come.
Sounds
and then if
horrible.
it doesn't come, you have to wait again and put an order in. So it's just inhumane. It's cruel. I can't understand how people don't see that this is a problem, especially because I've been a law-abiding citizen my entire life. My mom has worked at a cleaning business her entire life to help me pay my legal bills, because, as I'm sure you know, they're not cheap by any means. So living in flight or fight mode for this long, 27 years, you know, and being wrongfully accused of something without a shred of proof is just insane to me.
The family of your sister-in-law, Caroline Levitt, they've painted you out to be somewhat of a deadbeat mother, someone who doesn't spend much time with her son.
Wow.
They haven't seen.
They talking about
in quite a
Caroline
while.
Levitt now.
Is there any truth to that?
There is no truth to that. Is it true that they do paint me out to be that way? Of course, yeah. They try to keep me, you know, locked up in some kind of closet, you know, which is their narrative. You know, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I don't lose sleep at night over it. You know, I've made my peace with that. But for them to say those things and have my son think those things is something I would never do to them, you know? So we have 50% custody. I mean, I have thousands of pictures and videos of Michael and I together, of us going to Dave & Buster's or going to Sky Zone, you know, and his friends tagging along. It's funny because it's never a problem when I'm bringing the boys, you know, to play or to go places or to go to a Patriots game or, you know, sitting floor seats at the Celtics games, you know what I mean? Like, it's cool when I do those things so I can give them a break, you know? And now I can't wrap my head around why anyone would make up these lies.
Almost as if they don't know who you are. Do you believe that the Levitt family
Crazy.
had something to do with your detention and attempted deportation?
I didn't think so when I first got in there. I didn't think so, but the more that I look at all of the coincidence, you know, like how they knew that I was leaving to pick up Michael from school, how they knew my address. My address is not, nobody knows my address. My mother hasn't been to where I live for this exact reason. I go to her house just to keep her, you know, have her mind be at ease pretty much. So the vehicle that I was driving was not registered under my name. That apartment lease is not under my name. So it leads me to believe, how can someone know where I am, exactly where I'm going? You know, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
What about the traffic stop caught your attention?
Well, at first, you know, I was talking to, you know, Bruna about what had happened, and then TMZ leaked the video, and it looks like an undercover drug buy where the police just go in and swarm in unmarked vehicles and arrest somebody. It looks similar, like, you know, the horrific thing you saw in Providence yesterday, you know, with the shooting. You see all these like agents running around with guns and whatnot. So she's pulling her vehicle forward, and it looks like a car is driving in, possibly accidentally, in her way, and she goes to back up, and then she's just barricaded by 5 vehicles. They all out, most of them have masks over their faces. But in talking to Bruna, she said at first they asked her for her driver's license, and then when she was trying to get it, somebody says, "Are you Bruna?" So they obviously know who.
They knew who they were looking for.
They're looking for Bruna. It wasn't an accident. How would they know her name if it's a random traffic stop? And then just seeing that video, the sequence of it all, she asked to see a warrant. They never gave her one. Then they manufactured a warrant when she's in Vermont, like 4 hours later. like none of it added up. At first, we thought it was happenstance, but I don't believe it is. Somebody else, one of her friends, got pulled over 2 days earlier, and they asked that person if she was Bruna. She looks similar, you know, with a hoodie on. You know, one of her mom's coworkers got pulled over. So they were clearly looking for somebody named Bruna for several days. And then they, not only did they arrest her, they took her to a processing facility in Vermont. Somebody made a comment like, oh, more business is coming in. And that's, you know, that's the seedy narrative here. They're treating women like their business. There's no beds in Massachusetts for a woman in ICE detention. And yet all of my clients say, if you don't sue right away, they wind up down south, the for-profit
They said
prison.
that.
This is crazy, guys.
They didn't think she spoke English.
Yeah, she didn't know that I spoke English. So when I laughed, the guy goes, oh, she speaks English. And I said, and in several other languages as well. But it's just, it's disturbing that someone can find humor when this is the worst day of my life. You know, I've never been arrested. I've never been in handcuffs. So for someone to say that as if it's just a joke is cruel.
And then the immigration judge lets her on the minimum amount of bond at all, $1,500. And it's supposedly it's a Joe Biden judge that lets her out of jail when their own lawyer agrees to it. And then ICE illegally puts an ankle monitor on her. That's not part of what the judge issued. She said $1,500. That was at the minimum. You pay money and you're free. Not you checking at ICE, have to have an ankle monitor, another for-profit device that they're charging taxpayers for. It's absolutely unfounded, unparalleled, unconstitutional behavior. We see it. I see it happen to her. I've seen it happen to numerous other clients.
Sounds like her lawyer is most definitely going to fight
A
this.
criminal or an illegal alien. Most of the time, it's hardly ever true. And yet, government's tearing off the hardworking backs of non-citizens by putting these for-profit hellholes.
Bruno, you were in the process of trying to get a green card, making your citizenship permanent the correct way here in the United States. Do you still believe in this country and its promise after what you've now been through?
Well, there's a quote that I live by, you know, rivers don't rush, yet they form mountains. Patience is the key, but 27 years, this is so broken, it's embarrassing. You know, cousins that want to visit America, and I advise them to stay home and finish their studies. And, you know, because to come in, and I didn't come in illegally, you know, I came in with a visa. This country welcomed me with open arms because the mission was just for me to meet my sister and then go back with my grandmother and start school until my parents could pack up and move home. So it's very misleading when they say, okay, just pay this fee, pay that. And now my parents have easily spent $250,000 throughout this 20 years. And that's, you know, through a lot of referrals. You know, we own a cleaning business, so people have tried to help, but the system is broken. You know, they ask you to do something, you do it. And then if you don't, you know, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's very hard to understand what they want from you.
With our final moments, do you have a message to the Levitt family?
Yes, I want to see my son. I want to see Michael. I want Michael to live with me, obviously, 100% of the time. That's never been a question, but I do know that, you know, a boy does need his father. And I have given him that opportunity to be in his life, but I want to see my son as soon as possible, like today. That's my message to them.
Bruna Ferreira, Todd Pomerleau, thank you both so much for joining us. Thank you.
That's Caroline Levitt, the White House press secretary. It's her sister-in-law, guys. The little one she's with, the little boy, that's her son. She's saying basically they're keeping her away, and she feel like they may have something to do with her being detained by questions that they were asking. Her co-worker that almost got arrested, and herself for looking like her. She wasn't done. She went and spoke on the situation. Check this out.
Press Secretary Caroline Levitt's nephew, son, sitting down for her first television interview after being detained by ICE.
I'm telling you, Bala.
Bruna Caroline Ferreira was arrested by ICE agents last month while driving to pick up her son from school. She shares custody of her child with Levitt's brother, Michael, whom she was engaged to until about a decade ago. Ferreira was shuttled to several detention centers around the country before ultimately being sent to Louisiana, more than 1,600 miles from where she lives, where she calls home in Massachusetts. Ferreira has been living in the United States since 1998. That's when she came here from Brazil. She was a 6-year-old child. The Trump administration calls her a, quote, criminal illegal alien who overstayed a tourist visa. Her attorney maintains that Ferreira is in the process of getting a green card, which she had begun years ago, and that she is protected from deportation for an Obama-era immigration policy. And out front now for her first television interview, Bruna Caroline Ferreira, and she is joined by her attorney, Todd Pomerleau. And I really appreciate both of you being here. So, Bruna, I just want to start, when this story first broke, I kind of had to look at it a couple of times to understand what actually had happened here, and then learning more and more about you and who you were. I understand on the day that this happened, you were running out of the house, shoelaces tied to pick up your son from school.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me what happened.
I was heading out to pick up Michael from school, and a vehicle drove towards me, so I decided to back up to get out of his way. An unmarked vehicle, may I add. And then I noticed in my rearview mirror there was another vehicle, and then it was just a swarm of people, and I was quickly rushed to the Revere Police Department for them to clarify my identity. They didn't know my name. They asked me my name, so I asked them, how could you possibly know who I am and where I live without you having some kind of a warrant? I wasn't presented with any of those documents. So I just started panicking, trying to see if I could get somebody, an emergency contact, anybody to answer me to pick up Michael from school. Just thought
because at this point you were running with your shoelaces untied because you wanted to be first in line to school, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So then all of a sudden no one's going to pick your child up from school.
Correct.
Okay, one thing you said there though, so they're waiting. This vehicle, another vehicle comes up, this swarm of people as you describe it. And then you're saying, but they didn't know your name.
No warrant, no, they asked me, is your name Bruna? And I just asked, well, how do you know who I am if you don't have any type of warrant? How do I know who you
so
are?
So they knew you were Bruna, but
Yes.
they didn't have a warrant for your arrest.
So they wanted me to verify my identity with a driver's license. So I just asked, where do you have a warrant? So then they said, let's just rush her over to the Revere.
Sorry about the
Police
lag,
Department,
guys.
and
There's nothing
there
I can do
they
about it
verified
at
my
this time.
identity and made a call. I made an emergency call for somebody to go pick up Michael. And after that, I was shuffled around all the entire country.
So I want to ask you about that. Todd, though, okay, what happened here then, do you think? They knew her name.
Correct.
But they didn't have any warrant, they didn't have any proof for it, but they knew her name.
But first they played dumb and acted like it was a traffic stop. So they asked her for her license, but then somebody says, are you Bruna? Which causes her concern. Plus traffic cops don't have masks over their faces. That's how immigration and customs enforcement, functions.
These guys
days.
had masks.
Yeah, they cover their face, and that's what they did here. And again, they don't show her any warrant. And then apparently they manufactured a warrant when she was in Vermont several hours later, which is highly unusual. And then when you look at the video, TMZ leaked the video. I hadn't seen the video before when I was on the show a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you see 5 cars just quickly swarm. It looks similar like an undercover drug buy, where they just go in right away and they know who they're getting. And what was strange about it is hardly any people knew where she lived. She was driving a vehicle not registered to her. It seemed like they knew exactly where she was going to be.
Sounds like a setup to me.
She regularly pick her son up. She'd leave around the same time, multiple days a week. They knew exactly where she was going to be.
So it sounds like you're saying you were targeted.
Premeditated.
Premeditated.
Very organized.
And because of who she is, because of the relationship to the press secretary.
It seems to be. And what's bizarre about her case anyway, she's been trying to get a green card literally since she was almost 6 years old. And she was in the process of doing that literally one day after she filed her most recent green card application. The Trump administration tried to accelerate her deportation case by starting it up again. She had a case that's been effectively shelved since the Obama administration, since Barack Hussein Obama put her in removal proceedings. And it was just basically paused so that she could try to get her green card. She had DACA over a course of years, and she was merely waiting her turn. May 5th, she had her final hearing, but they accelerated the process after she filed her application.
So Bruna, just to be clear, you came here when you were 6 years old.
Yes.
And so obviously you didn't come illegally, first of all.
No.
And you didn't have any choice in the matter, right? I mean, so then.
Very excited to come and meet my little sister, yes.
Right, okay, to meet your little sister for the first time. So essentially you've lived here your entire life, as far as you remember it.
Correct.
Okay, so when they say to you that you're a criminal illegal alien, which is what they're technically calling you specifically and explicitly, this administration, what do you say?
Well, she said that she's Caroline Levitt's sister-in-law, Leah J. Caroline Levitt works for Trump. They doing the mass deportation situation. She said that the Levitts wouldn't let her see her kid. They wouldn't let her see the little boy. And then all of a sudden, one day she's going to pick him up from school, and she gets detained by ICE. Who you think done it?
Say to that.
and that they had been looking for her and almost took one of her co-workers in who looked similar to her with a hoodie on, asking her if she was this lady. So it most definitely seemed like a setup.
Broken. I'm heartbroken for my son, I'm heartbroken for my mother, who has worked for a quarter of a century cleaning houses, earned an honest living, has paid her taxes. I've been a law-abiding citizen. I don't even have a parking ticket. I'm so proud of it. I'm proud of my name, and I carry it like a badge of honor, like being on.
Remember they said that she was a person that was in trouble, have been in trouble before. She said she's never been in trouble, never had a parking ticket.
Now my child is sitting somewhere watching them broadcast this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As a child, he must be terrified. Is it true? Did my mom do something? Do I not know about it? Gossip in school? I don't know what's going on in his little mind, and I just want him to know that none of those things are true, honey, and we're going to square this all away.
So that when you go in that day and you make that emergency call, then you lose your phone, right? You don't
Correct.
have a phone,
Yeah.
okay? For 26 days?
26 days.
26 days, no phone.
Yes.
Okay.
And
I can't even imagine what it's like to not
For
be
a
able to talk
mother,
to your child.
yeah.
26
And
days.
her phone somehow got broken during the arrest too, which is on TMZ.
Coincidentally.
It's not a violent arrest, but her phone manages to get
Your
broken.
phone got broken.
Correct.
What was that even like to not be able to know what happened to your child or even who picked him up from school or anything for 26 days, Bruna?
You have a lot of time to think in there, and you really think the worst. You think the worst, but the luck that I had is that I was surrounded by so many women that had 4 children, one was pregnant, and I can't imagine. I just tried to put myself in their shoes. I was in such a horrible situation, but they were praying for me and I was praying for them, and being able to contact an attorney that could expedite my process, because some people are in there for a year and a half. I can't fathom a mother not knowing where her son is for a year and a half and who's with him, what he's eating, if he's going to bed on time, if he's sick. I can't imagine.
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's the cruelty of it.
It's cruel.
So you are, okay, but in this time then, how many places do you go? You're taken from place to place, right? How are you, and can you just talk about what it was like inside, who was there? I mean, were you treated well? I mean, tell us.
It's mind-boggling to know that they know where you're going, but they won't tell you. So I was shuffled from Massachusetts quickly to New Hampshire, from New Hampshire to Vermont, Vermont to Philadelphia, Philadelphia to Texas. When I got to Texas, I asked the ICE agent, because it said Mexico. I said, can you please, please, please have a little bit of empathy for me and tell me if you're taking me across the border? And he said, no, we're taking you to the final destination, your final stop before your deportation, which is South Louisiana. Hardly anyone ever gets out of there. So just mustered up the courage to cry and sleep throughout that final voyage. And when I got to South Louisiana, I was finally able to, by the grace of God, some girl let me use her minutes to make a phone call and then to tell my family where I was and the attorneys.
And so that's, Todd, when you are able to help to get her out for now.
Wow, her family didn't even know where she was at, guys.
And
this is crazy.
Like when she was taking her Vermont,
I told y'all this wasn't going to end
One of
well.
the ICE officers didn't think she spoke English and said, "Oh, we got more business coming in." And then she wound up in Louisiana in another for-profit hellhole prison, paid for by taxpayers. She has 2 businesses. This is a woman who has 2 businesses, a single mother, paying her taxes, winds up in a for-profit prison in Louisiana. It's just unconscionable what they're doing on a daily basis. And then beyond that, this false character assassination, keep labeling her a criminal illegal alien. Their own lawyer on Monday, when we had a bond hearing, said, I stipulate, after we argued that she was not a criminal illegal alien, that was
not a criminal, didn't even have a parking ticket.
Patently false, factually, legally, and then they're still doubling down, claiming she was arrested for a crime. The only arrest in her life was this unconstitutional bag job on November the 12th.
You know, Bruno, I want to understand this, and I think, you know, on some level, I don't want to make it about Caroline Leavitt, but that is why your story has, of course, risen to, you know, you have become, whether you like it or not, right, a face of this for so many people. I know you chose her to be your son's godmother, right? I mean, there's a relationship there. You're not married to your son's father, but you have, you say, you know, you function, you parent together, you share custody. The Washington Post says that the White House said you never lived with your son. they were clearly portraying you as an absentee parent.
Why? I just want to, why lie?
Why do you
lie?
think that is?
Why lie? Because I have so many friends and family that have called me and said, why would anyone lie about this when it's 2025? We have a digital footprint of everything. Every Wednesday, typically my son and I go to Dave & Buster's because it's half off. We're extreme couponers at our home.
Yeah.
And I can't wrap my mind around it, but it doesn't make any sense. I'm just as lost as you are, and I'm hoping that this interview gets me some answers.
What, have you had a chance to talk to Caroline Levitt?
No.
I mean, what would you
She
say to
hasn't
her?
even
I'm
talked to
I'm
Caroline.
still stunned by the fact that you chose her to be your son's godmother, right?
Over
I mean,
my
you had
sister.
it over your own sister.
Over my sister.
And now all of this is happening. I mean, what do you have to say to her?
I think what I would have to say to Caroline is, just because you went to a Catholic school doesn't make you a good Catholic. You know, you're a mother. You are a mother now, and you should know, how would you feel if you were in my shoes? You know, how would you feel if somebody did this to you?
Crazy, guys. Yeah, so she wasn't done speaking on it, you know. Very crazy, guys. Very crazy. It has been crazy over the weekend, man. You know, this is wild, man. This is wild. We got Rob Reiner, guys, and his wife Michelle. They were both unalived. Yeah, unalived in their home, $14 million house. They're looking at the son, saying that the son may be the culprit. You know, we watched some details that came out on that situation right there. We also found out about the situation that took place in Australia, guys. Over 40 people injured, 19 unalive, guys, in Australia. Lord have mercy. Prayers for the people over there. And we also found out about the Brown University right here in the United States, the mass situation that took place over there with 2 people being unalive and 9 in, guys, or yeah, nine injured. It's crazy, man. It's been a very active weekend, man. You know, I most definitely brought y'all today, covered everything in the title. Man, if you just made it here, feel free to run it back. A lot of information off in here that you may find that you need, you know, when it comes to certain situations of trying to figure out what's going on, guys. And as they keep me updated, I'll keep y'all updated. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you take time to subscribe. Most definitely double tap that screen if you have not. That's how you hit the like button, or click hit that thumbs up. They'll say, yeah, I agree. She voted for Trump. Now look at her. Man, we found out that Caroline Levitt, you know, her sister-in-law situation, says that she feels like she was set up. Basically, she was dropping her son, or going to go pick up her son from school, was pulled over by a bunch of unmarked cars, taken to an ICE facility for like 26 days, guys. Said her phone was broke. She had to use somebody else's phone just to make a call to let her family know that she was okay, you know, and basically what was going on with her, man. So as this situation broadens, I most definitely keep y'all up to date. Shout out to my old members as well as my new members. Shout out to my old subscribers as well as my new subscribers. Shout out to my moderators for keeping this chat running smooth. I most definitely appreciate each and every one of y'all. I will catch y'all on the next one. Sidewalk Gang, checking out. Y'all be safe out there. I'm gone.